Bang! Neevesknives. I'm Jared, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen, live on Neevesknives. How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully, all is well with everybody. Let me get this pulled up over here. I can't pull it up until it goes live. But how's everybody doing? I should be off unemployment in a few weeks, so I'm great now. Jim says. Well, Jim, congratulations, man. Good for you. Hell yeah. What you got? A new job coming up or something? You got a new job, Jim? What's going on, brother? Shout out to Blades and Fades. Definitely go and check him out. Man, the KU321 from Kubi. You know, I don't know if you guys seen it. I did talk about it in the members live. They have a titanium version. Oh, I think I might have talked about it in a video too. They have a titanium version. And oh man, I want it so bad. I might even have to just pull the trigger and buy it. I don't know if they'll send it to me or not, but I really, really want to get it on the channel, especially if I can link it. But I personally, this is one of my favorite Kubis. The 321, the reverse flick on it is just so natural, and they tune. This is one thing about Kubi, man. I'm not saying they hit it every time out of the park, because you know there's always going to be lemons, but about 7 out of 10 times, which is pretty damn good, really damn good, they hit the detents out of the park. They do a really, really good job on it. Hello, mother. How you doing, Mom? I'm doing great. Hopefully you're doing great. I'm just late. Get off soon. Very cool. Very cool. Hard work is a must. So awesome that you're working hard. You are truth. We are all in Edge Runner. Yeah, man. I'm gonna pull it up really quick because it's called the Royal. So it's the titanium Kubi Royale. Bang. They also have the you guys already know that the what was it, the 331? I did get one of those. The problem is I don't think that, or maybe it's not a problem, but I don't think that this is gonna be the price, but it might be, which that would be a problem if it winds up being the price tag, but that's a little bit high, I think. And well, I guess not. It's M390 actually. For some reason I thought they kept the 14C steel. Did I see a different version too? Let me see if they have different versions. Nope, it looks like they're all M390. We have a plain tie one. You guys can see all this, right? Yeah. We have a plain tie one. Here's all the budget ones. 48 bucks, man. It's an absolute steal of a deal. Get one of these guys if you don't already. They got an all blacked out version and then the flamed version. Man, I gotta get one of these, man. I really, really want. Look at the access to the lock bar. Looks good. It looks like a T8. Looks like T8. Looks like titanium hardware too. Stone washed, right? Or is that a bit blast? I think that's a stone wash. I hope it's a stone wash. Oh no, maybe it's blasted. Yeah, it might be blasted. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I would want it to be stone washed though. But anyways, I might have to get one of those. So the Herman Custom. Somebody was asking me, because they asked me a while back, which one would I take over the Herman or the Grimsmo Rask? So I had an opportunity a few months ago to get a Rask, a brand new one, custom ordered. Somebody was going to give me their spot. And I wound up not doing it, and the reason why was because it was right after Blade Show. It was like a month or so after Blade Show. I had just shit out a bunch of money, so it was like it was just tough. I could have done it. But those things. The one I would have gotten would have been like $1,200 or something like that. And spending over $1,000 on a knife can be tough, regardless if you got the money or not. And so I wound up not doing, even though I knew I could have sold. And this is the thing. This is what gets me, is that if I did buy it, I always could have sold it, because those are knives that sell like that on the market. So I would have had no problem getting rid of it. But which one is better though? The Rask or this? Now, I've only briefly tried a Rask. So, I it's hard for me to, like, I know I remember it, but without having it here, I didn't spend enough time with it. So I did say the Rask though. I said the Rask because I think it's possibly a little bit more sought after. There's more of these available. You can get these, right? And I'm not saying they're always available and they're just pouring out of the walls. They're not, right? But there's if you go to Polish Custom Knives, I don't have the thing here. Shout out to Polish Custom Knives. I'll show their thing for sending me this. But if you go to Polish Custom Knives, you can definitely get some of these Hermans. He's obviously a Polish custom knife maker. But because of that reason, I possibly would pick that one. And then also, like, let's say we're taking that off the board. Like, that doesn't count. It's just purely off of the knife. Purely off of the knife. I have a feeling that the Rask might be in hand just a little bit better. Like, it's hard to say that though, unless if I have them both in the hand, because I could literally say that's not true. So it's tough. I really like the look of the Rask though. I really like the look of the Stinger, or the Sting, not Stinger. The Herman Sting. So beautiful knife. Let's check out the Rask really quick. But that was sweet Polish Custom Knives. Definitely go and check them out, especially if you're in the market for any customs or any Polish made knives. S110V is fantastic. Did somebody ask something about S110V? So what's the general consensus on S110V? Just picked up an S30V Manix and an S110V Manix. So the general consensus is that it is a very high wear resistant steel. So it holds an edge for fucking ever. But it's chippy. It's fragile. It's not going to be, you don't want to hard use it. You don't want to be tough on it. You definitely don't want to do any impact with it. But as long as you're just cutting with it, if you're just slicing with it, it's a beast. It's an absolute beast. But that's what it's made for, right? You got to use when you start getting into premium steels, you got to use them accordingly, right? Certain steels are made to be super tough with, pry with, chop with, things like that. And with the right heat treatment, that's where they're going to excel, right? So that would be the application they should be used for most. Then some steels are not made for that at all, and they're made for purely cutting regular stuff. So that's the way S110V is. Now, the one issue with it that most people run into is the sharpening. The sharpening is, the problem they have is the burr. That's the problem. So the burr it doesn't feel normal. So the burr you bring up on any other steel, most other steels, can be removed with the stone. So you can remove it with the stone you're sharpening with. You're supposed to, diminish the burr, or fatigue the burr, right? So it pops off. That won't happen with S110V. it will just continue to stay there and stay there and stay there, or continue to come back. You have to strop it off, which is really weird. It doesn't even make sense. You might fatigue it a little bit, but you fatigue it a little tiny bit because if you think you're going to get it off with the stone, it'll drive you nuts. Like the first time I dealt with it, I was like, I thought I was doing something wrong. But once I hit it with the strop, it just right off. And then I learned that that's the way you got to do it. Congrats on getting that Herman knives. Oh, Jared is there. Sorry, guys. Hello? Give me 1 second, guys. What time is it? 7:40. Damn it. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. It's my nephew. Hey, brother, listen, I'm live right now. Yeah. Can I know you're not going to be able to call me back when I'm off, so can you just call me tomorrow? Call me tomorrow morning. All right, love you. Sorry, guys, that was my nephew. He's locked up, and I didn't want to miss that call. So, congrats on getting the Herman knives. Is there any knife company who eludes you that is above Herman and Rockstead? Like I said, I let's bring this up really quick, actually. How did I say? Oh yeah, Grimsmo. Here is the Rask. So this is one that I think would compete at the very least, and possibly beat. Compete and possibly beat. And you can see they're very similar, right? As far as shape goes. But they are different in a lot of ways too. You know, it's just this is a common blade shape. So, you know, you can see that they got some similarities. But the Rask, like the Grimsmo, like the Grimsmo Norseman, is absolutely false shut action. Like, I mean, that thing is a guillotine. This thing is very drop shutty. I would even say it's damn near false shut, if not false shut. So it's right there. But you got to like follow it around. And it'll probably get better and better, but I mean, this is already so damn good. I don't care if it changed at all. But you know, when I flip it a few times, you know, it'll wind up like basically dropping shut. This one, when you release it, it just goes wham, it just slams shut. Like there's nothing stopping it, because I think Grimsmo uses the detent, square detent or something like that. Am I right about that? Now here's the difference. So check this out. CPM 154. That's not, I wouldn't want that personally. I know RWL 34 is, which is another steel he uses a lot. It's basically CPM 154. Same thing, basically. I personally wish it came in a better steel. I mean, if that's all you could get it in, whatever. I'm just not for in particular, for pocket knives, I'm not a fan of them, of CPM 154 or RWL 34. As far as pocket knives go, now I have knives in both. So I'm not trying to say like it's just like it's out of the question, because that's not true. It's still a good steel. It's a fantastic steel. It's actually an amazing steel. The problem I have with it is I just don't like the types of edges it takes, or the lack of variation in edge. It doesn't like a polish. The higher the grit you go, the finer it gets, just like every steel, but it does it more rapidly. So like say it's 600 grit with most steels, CPM 154 will feel like 1200 grit. And that's why when you get to like 2000 grit, it's slick. It starts getting slick, because where most blades at 2000 grit, Theirs is like more like 4,000. So it just gets slicker and slicker and slicker, and the teeth Holt knives drop like that also. Yeah, I will. I'm gonna get to those. I'm gonna get to those. But yeah, it just doesn't. It's just not for somebody who likes to sharpen a lot and likes to be able to put toothy edge sometimes a mirror edge, sometimes this type of edge, sometimes that type of edge. I like having that being able to do that, and that steel just doesn't do it that well. It's just so fine grained. It just, like I said, it's a great steel though, and as long as you like a medium grit edge, a toothy edge, it's a great steel. I personally like it at like between 300 and 600 grit, sometimes even lower than 600 grit, because 600 grit is sometimes too fine for it. Oh, James, I think I've got a Norseman in RWL 34. And my brother has a Rask in RWL 34. I like that steel better myself. Yeah, some people do like that a little bit over. It's basically the same thing though as CPM 154. They do have basically the same similar shit. Like I said, it's a fantastic steel. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I've spent a lot of money to get knives that have that steel. So, but just if I was going to have a choice, right, like on a knife between that and I'd pick that steel over a lot of other steels too. Let's be clear. But if I had the choice between that or like say Almax, I personally would just pick Almax. They really like those steels. You know why they really like those steels? It's so, like I was saying before, just like the sharpening, it's so easy to grind. The same thing with like the sharpening. The reason why the scratch is sharper, like the scratch pattern with each stone sharpens out so easily, is the same reason why it grinds so easily. CJ, thank you for becoming a member, man. I appreciate it, brother. Jared, do you like drop shut or hydraulic feel better? I personally like hydraulic feel better, but it depends on the hydraulic feel you're talking about, because some people call Chris Reeve knives hydraulic. I don't. I think of hydraulic like Shirogorov or like this, where it like follows you around, where it's just like a slow and steady pace all the way down. That's what I think of hydraulic, like a hydraulic door. You know, um, but when I have to like push it down, like like a Chris Reeve knife, I don't consider that hydraulic. Some people do though. But like the difference between complete fall shut action, like just like a straight. Oh, that's more. Oh, here we go. Like a guillotine where it just goes bink, where it doesn't feel like anything's touching in there. That can be very satisfying. It's very, very satisfying, especially if it's rock solid. And this is the thing, is it has to do it when it's super solid. No side to side, no up and down, perfect detent. If you can have all of that, lockup is strong, then having a fall shut action is fantastic. Jared, I know you don't prefer Tucson's much, but how about 6-leaf? I have a couple of them and they're nice. The SL24 is really good. I've been wanting to try one of the 6-leaves. I just haven't. I know Tucson makes them. But I don't know if it's another company just having Tucson make their knives or if it's just Tucson. And it's not that I don't like Tucson. I just think they need to get their shit together. I still want to get them on the channel. I just not, it's just tough to spend the money on them without knowing if it's a good one or not. 10 bones from Neo. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Will you ever let me pay you to sharpen some knives for me? Please ask. I can't at the moment, man, because I got my books closed, and if I open it up for you, I'd have to open it up for 1,000 people, and it's just not fair. And right now, it's not fair for me to do it for people because it takes me entirely way too long. I can't keep up with the channel and sharpening other people's stuff and getting it back on time. Like I'd hate to take your knife and keep it for 6 months. So without doing that, I'll just deny. I have 2, but I am more than happy to send them out to you. Yeah, I'll check them out. I'm always willing to check them out if you think they're good. They have a Kern, for God's sake. They should be doing some hardcore steals at Grimsmo. Oh, a kiln? I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I would love to see them do like a bunch of different steals. I think that that'd be the way to go. But like I said, it's going to be more difficult for them to sharpen. It's they're really good with the RWL 34. That's the thing. That's what he does. That's what they love. They use a lot of it, and they're really good at heat treating it. They're really good at just doing everything with it. So it's very consistent. So you can understand why a company would want to do that too. A company's going to want to do that because, like I just said, they can be more consistent. And then they're not going to have people coming back saying, hey, man, my edge is chippy or something like that. Shout out to Stas at 23 in the house. Definitely go and subscribe to his channel. Abner, where'd he go? I don't know. I don't know if I'll even open them back up. So I did the full-time sharpening for a couple of years, but it got to the point to where it was at one point it was easier for me to do it as like a side gig, so I was doing the channel. I was actually working, doing the channel and sharpening. Then I quit the job just to make sure I can continue sharpening. And so then I was just doing the sharpening in this. But now this takes up so much of my time that it's in order for me to open it up, I would have to charge a lot of money, and it just doesn't make sense right now for me to do it. Not saying I wouldn't do it in the future. I might do it in the future, especially if I need like a little extra money or something. But I'm trying to really work on the channel in a lot of ways to grow it. So there's a lot of extra work I'm trying to do right now, and I just don't see taking on sharpening right now as a good business move right now. Maybe possibly in the future, but we'll see. Some of them, yeah, not all of them. Adaptive Outdoorsman asks, is Medford knives worth the high cost? Yeah, but it depends on what you like in a knife, because some of the knives are super stiff. When you first get them, you're not going to be able to flick them open. Like you have to two-hand pry it open, and they eventually break in. Some of them are on bearings now, though. So I would say the knives he has on bearings are most likely going to be the ones you would prefer, unless if you already prefer slow rolling action, like where it's not going to be like a perfect detent. It's going to be stiff. It's like this one right here took probably 2 years to break in to where I could like just flick it, and you can see it's slow. Like I can easily fail. Look at this. I can just fail it. It's more of a wrist flicker, right? And then I can reverse flick it. But at first, man, like I had to go whap. Like I'd have to do an arm movement just to get it to come out, and wrist and make sure it flicks out with momentum. Now I can do it without doing that, but it took a long time. So now it's a lot smoother. But I have other ones that have perfect detents and that are on bearings. So I think those ones are going to be the ones that you'll probably prefer more if you like that type of action. My personal favorite from him is his Slimity or his Marauder series period. I love the Marauders. Raffle off sharpening slots, just a limited number. Whoever suits you. or drawings for a few slots for members. So like that's what I was saying. Like there might be a way for me to open it up for like specific people, like doing like that. That might not be a bad idea. I just I just I hate to do that, you know. I hate to raffle off something like that and then a bunch of people not get nothing out of it, you know. It's an idea though. It is definitely an idea. I might be able to do something in like the with the members or something, but most of the members are learning to sharpen. I'm not saying all of them are sharpening, but a lot of them are. So I'm not sure if, excuse me, I'm not sure if they'd want to do that. But hey, you know, maybe they would. Jared just picked up the whole Deca collector edition with carbon fiber scales and blue anno screws and tritium bar locks. So nice. Hell yeah. Very, very cool. RWL helps them spend less on tooling, like you said. Yeah, yeah. It's tooling and grinding. Yeah, for sure. Mom's gonna get through. Wait, Mom's gonna go get things. Do love you. Have a nice evening. Thank you, Mom. Love you too. Hope you have a good night. Hope you're feeling better too. Learn how to sharpen hungry birds. Some people just can't, and I understand, man, because it does. It's either going to take one of two things. Either one, you got to spend a decent amount of money on a system if you want like really good results and you want the most least amount of frustration. Not saying you can't spend $50 on a work sharp precision and get good results, because you absolutely can, but it's not going to be as professional as like a TS Prof Edge, and it's definitely going to be a little bit more frustrating. So you can either spend the money to get the most professional results and then the time to learn how to use the system and the time to learn how, you know what I mean? So it's going to be time and money no matter what. And then if you're going to learn freehand, fucking pack a lunch. You're going to be learning. I mean, I'm not saying it's hard. It's easy to learn, but it takes time. You have to put the blade on the stone. You have to get the steel on the stone and create a habit and a muscle memory. Questions: do any companies use your expertise into designing new knives? Yeah, actually, I notice a lot of them do. Some of them contact me and ask me questions. They'll send me prototype drawings and things like that and ask me what I think. What could they change? What could be improved? Does it look good? Does it doesn't? Or does it not? And I give my feedback. But it's not like it's my design though. But yeah, they definitely use it. I notice a lot. Some of them go into my videos and they'll watch the videos and see what I'm critiquing and try to improve that. I've seen that a lot. I love the Mini Marauder. Note the Slim MIDI. The MIDI, it's my favorite hard use knife. I like them better than Hinder. Very cool. Yeah, my only problem with the Slim MIDI, because if you guys don't know, there's three different Marauders. There's the Marauder, then there's the MIDI, and then there's the Slim MIDI. So the Slim MIDI is going to be the real slim one, the slicey one, the more EDC friendly one. I think that's the way it goes. Anyways, the one problem I have with the Slim MIDI is the lock bar access, man. I wish they would just cut that fucking square out. I've got a CRK Sabenza Tanto 10 days ago. I've had it every waking minute and it's broken. And take the leap, bro. It's a beaut. Hell yeah. Very cool. Yeah, my Sabenza is super smooth, like super duper smooth. CJ Master with the vibe bones. Been enjoying the content. Keep it up, brother. Thank you, CJ. I appreciate it, brother. Shout out to all the members in here. I do appreciate the support. What's an affordable way to get a mirror edge freehand? But there's really no affordable way. You know, it just doesn't. The most affordable way you could possibly do it is 2 stones and then no, yeah, 2 stones in a ceramic, maybe 3 stones in a ceramic, or you could strop your way to it, but stropping compound takes, you know, that's going to take some money. You can maybe do like a buffing wheel or something like that, but it's going to be shit. It's not going to be like a quality polished edge. If you want a quality polished edge, you have to go the way you get to a real mirror polish. If you're talking about a real one, like not like just something that's shiny or something that's polished, but something that's actually effectively very, very, very fucking sharp, you have to go through all the progressions and get out the last scratch pattern from the previous stone with a stone that's not too far away, because otherwise you'll leave microscopic scratches and then not be able to get to the polish. So you have to go like from like 300, or 300 grit, 600 grit, 1000 grit, 1500 grit, 2000 grit, and then start jumping. Now, after 2000 grit, you can start jumping more. You can go like to 5000. But all the beginning stones have to be very close together. So and then if you want, like after like what, 1200 grit, you could use a ceramic. You could use a Spyderco ceramic. That'll get you a polish and then strop. You could also just have a bunch of stropping compounds, but in order to get a mirror polish from stropping compounds, you're going to need like 5 of them. Unless if you end with a polishing stone, then in that case, if you end with a polishing stone, you can just use any, as long as it's like 5 micron and lower, 6 micron and lower. Thank you, Jared, for doing more fixed blade content on your channel. I got more coming too. Got a couple in right now. Hey, Aaron. Shout out to Aaron's been a member for 7 months. White Mountain Knives, exclusive mini Towser K, clutch lock and frag tie. Very cool. The mini Towser K was the one that was failing on us though. I don't know how the new ones are. Jim Q with the 2 bones. Told myself I'd super chat when I got an offer. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I'm gonna scroll down. I can tell I'm backed up. I feel like they listen to you a lot, especially on the sharpening toil and plunge grind and lock bar access. Well, some do, some of them don't. Some of them, I just don't think they understand exactly. That's the problem. Like, you can say it, but if they don't actually understand why, then it's hard to make sure it's perfect, because they don't understand what makes it perfect. They don't understand why the bad one is bad. So they think like just make it bigger or something like that. Like, they don't understand it's about the plunge. It's not necessarily about the choil size. It's about the plunge grind and where it lands. And that's the part that's very hard and gets lost in translation. Jim Miller with the 10 bones. Thank you, brother. Got my gunny juice and a knife that I won. Thanks, Jared. No problem, Jim. Thank you for the 10 bones. I do appreciate it. Appreciate you telling us about your past. I have a similar life. Good job on the come up. Thank you, Ryan. At 9 o'clock, we're gonna get into some of that stuff. So we'll get into story time at 9 o'clock. Thanks for showing the EXO-M. Oh yeah, they're available right now. Bought it from your link. Hell yeah. Nobody else had the Huss anyway. Well, you know what? I appreciate you using my link. I greatly appreciate that. And for anybody else that's using my links, I can't thank you enough, man. It is a massive, massive help to the channel. And it's one of the best ways you could support the channel is by using the affiliate links. So I do appreciate it. Story time. Todd Carr, full mirror versus just a polish. Time, lots and lots of time. Yeah. Yeah, because like you could say a polish will be at 2000 grit. That's where you have a polish. So between 1200 and 2000 grit, it's a cloudy finish. That's considered a cloudy. So it's not quite polished, but it's also, you don't see a lot of scratch pattern. It's getting hazy, where the scratches are getting really hazy, and that's why it's called a cloudy finish. At the 2000 grit, it starts getting shiny. but you can still see some haziness in there, but it's beginning to polish. It's polishing. It's at a polish. So from over 2000 and up, that's when it just becomes more mirror and more mirror. By the time you get to 3500 grit, it's an absolute mirror. You can still see microscopic scratches, but you got to really, really look. And to anybody else, you can read off of it. It's going to be a great mirror polish. My favorite mirror polish has microscopic serration or microscopic scratches in the finish, but it's so fine you can barely see it. Like you really have to look to see it. But it's still reflective. You can read off of it. But it makes it to where you still have the microscopic serrations. So the place basically so you don't polish the teeth off of your saw blade, right? Because you got to consider it's a saw blade, right? It wouldn't matter if you put it this way. Let's say you showed up to go cut down a tree with your saw and you have a mirror polished saw, right? Doesn't fucking matter if it's mirror polished if all the saw teeth are gone, right? You need the saw teeth. So you want to make sure you still have the microscopic serrations hitting that apex. You ever handled a Ziba Heritage slip joint? I'm buying one and wanted your opinion on it. It's a slip joint on bearings. I haven't handled that one, but I have handled some Ziba knives. But no, I have not handled that one. A slip joint on bearings sounds pretty cool. Bad decisions make good stories. Been there and done that. Got the t-shirt and the patch, but donated it. I still got it. I got it right here. Bang. You didn't think I'd have it close by, did you? I already had 2 sets on the way, but after I saw your video, I had to order some OG tie scales from my Yo Jimbo. Hell yeah. Very cool. Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, man. That cold steel with the fucking all the knives with the scales, man. But that cold steel, putting those titanium scales on there, whoo, that thing feels like a beast. I like that it's linerless too. Man, looks like we aren't gonna get a chance at the neutron star from Get Good Screw. 80 people go enter quick. Ends tomorrow. By the way, Kaiser's sale ends, I think, tonight. If you guys want to jump on anything from them. The reason why I didn't make a post on it because I was about to make a post, but in their thing, everything that had the best deals, I clicked on and it was saying it wasn't available for my area. So I'm guessing that means the West or the United States. So if it means the United States, and when I say West, I mean West side of the world. But but if it doesn't go to the United States, 60% of my audience is going to be the United States. So, it just didn't make sense to post it if it's only going to like Europe and stuff. But definitely go and check it out. I do have an affiliate link, but I don't know if I have it available to be uploaded, so I have to go get it. I got a skinny XL Deca scales. Very cool. The Bear Claw Parrot is a slip joint on bearings too. What one is that? The Bear Claw Parrot. I don't know what that one is. I put a mirror polish at 13 degrees on a Civic Conspirator, and let's just say overall, it was a bad decision for my hand. Cut the fuck out of yourself, didn't you? You know what? 13 degrees per side is a very sharp edge, though. Holy shit. When you start, and the Conspirator, if I remember correctly, I think it starts out at 15 to 18 thousandths behind the edge. I think it was closer to like 18 thousandths behind the edge. So putting a 13-degree edge bevel on each side would make a nice big bevel with some good stability behind it. So it's actually not a bad edge to put on that knife. It might look a little big, but it's going to be nasty sharp. So I'm guessing you cut yourself. Got Neevesknives resin bonded diamond stones. You'll never go back to anything else. That is the absolute truth. 100%. Jared, you should grab a Spyderco K294 Mule before they're gone. Which one's that? The K294. John, thank you for the 2 bones. Jared, I bought a Spyderco Shaman and S30V. Very cool. That's another good one. I do 15 degrees and that's it. Well, so I was just about to say on the Spyderco Shaman, that's what I always put on the Shaman is 15. It makes a nice big bevel, but with the geometry the Shaman has, it makes it super slicey. Like, it's a hard use knife while still holding on to a great amount of sliciness because of that broad flat grind. So it's not thin. It doesn't have thin geometry. It has relatively robust geometry, but the way they do the geometry, which is very important, for slicing. But yeah, that's a badass knife. I do 17 based on Jared's recommendations. Yeah, 17 is 15 just seems to work best all around. So I would disagree with 15 working the best all around. I would say 17 would be the best all arounder. And the reason why is because it holds on to the most amount of toughness while being the highest level of sharpness. Once you get down to under 17, your toughness on your edge goes way down. So when you get to 15 degrees per side, if it's not a steel that can handle it, it will microchip. If it's not the geometry that can handle it, it's definitely going to microchip. If you're tough on it, if you have anything to do with impact, it's going to microchip. Especially with certain steels. Like, I'm not going to say it's always gonna, but with some steels. But depending on what you're doing, that might not matter, right? Like, there's tons of stuff I put 15 degrees per side on, but I would never tell somebody else to do it just because I know that I don't use those knives for anything other than cutting regular shit. But for somebody on a job site, I wouldn't tell them that. Somebody that's possibly going to hit rocks and stuff. But that goes for any edge, though. If you hit a rock with any edge, it doesn't matter. Anyways, 17 degrees per side holds a great amount of toughness. Now, it's not as tough as 20 degrees. If you want a tough edge, if you want tough, go to 20 degrees per side. That's what you want. 20 degrees per side. It will have a great amount of sliciness with the most amount of toughness. If you go up to 22 degrees per side, now it's going to be the most amount of toughness, a little bit less slicey. The higher you go, the less slicey. So, like I said, 20 degrees per side is a really good angle for toughness if you want a tough edge. Now, like for impact and things like that. But if you're not going to have impact, you don't count on having impact, but it's maybe possibly a small chance, then 17 degrees per side is the best. I put a 16 degree 600 grit on my 940-2, and wow, what an improvement over the factory edge. Yeah, I have a 15 on mine. I have a 15 degree edge on mine, and it's a big bevel. It's a big bevel. It's like mine's been sharpened a lot, so my blade is narrow. It's more narrow than it was, So my bevel's big. It's got a big bevel on it. I love it though. Makes it slice really good. And my nuts, I feel like my Civivis are coming. Yeah, no, they come at 25, 30 degrees. That's common. That's normal. They do that because they don't know what you do with your knife, right? They're selling the knife to so many different people, so they have to put the tough edge on there. You don't want to put something that's going to chip, right? Because if they send you a knife, say at 15 degrees per side, you're going to have people there right away. The first day it's going to be chipping and things like that because it's not, they're not ready for an edge like that. So what they do is they put a really high edge angle on there, and then if you want to lower it, you can. If you start with a high angle, it's very easy to lower the angle, right? If they start with a super low angle, in order to not chip it, you're gonna have to go and raise the angle. So it just makes sense. It makes sense for them to put a high angle on your edge. But it's usually 22.5 to 25 degrees per side, and then some companies go 30 degrees per side. 20 degrees is what samurai swords are. Makes sense. Nice and tough. Was able to get a Kaiser Deviant for 74 bucks with that sale. Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, I seen the DL Orme for like 50 bucks. That's 20 CV. That thing is that's one of the most drop shutty it's like a jet knife, but it is a front flipper. It's a Justin Lundquist design, but that knife is ridiculously drop shutty. You don't expect it. You don't expect it because it's a liner lock, so you don't expect it to feel like it drops like a button lock. Hey, East Coast. What's up, brother? Thank you, man. Thank you for the 20 bones, man. I appreciate it. Jared, your most illegal knife at EXO short got me back in the knife realm. Nice. Your videos give a great alternative to the current thing. We appreciate you. Let me get up. Bang. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. And yeah, man, I love that that was able to get you back into the knife realm, because it is an awesome realm to be into. It's a nice hobby. It's a fun hobby, but it's a healthy hobby. You know, I think for the most part, it's a responsible, healthy hobby. Some, obviously you could, say fuck my electric bill this month, and probably shit the bed by buying things you shouldn't. But as far as so as long as you're spending your money responsibly, there's a lot of great people, a lot of great information, and a lot of avenues to go down. You can go down the budget realm, you can go down the premium realm, you can go down the customs, you can go down the mid-text, you can go down the different grinds, the different geometries, the different sharpening, the different stones, the different edges. There's so many different things to consume yourself with, to really indulge. All right, thanks, Jared. My buddy works construction, and we just got him a Praxis. He cuts open bags of concrete and plastic drainage pipe. What angle you guys recommend for that? 20 degrees. Yeah, I'd tell him 20 degrees. I'd personally put 17 on mine, but I would make sure not to hit the concrete when I'm cutting the concrete bags open. The concrete dust is gonna tear the edge up. But as long as you're not hitting the dust in there, and you're trying to be a little more careful with it, it'll hold up. And plastic drainage pipe, like, he's not going to be cutting the actual drainage pipe with his knife, or at least he shouldn't be. But who knows what he might run into, like plastic straps, things like that, and different ties. And there's just so many different things he's going to run into that he might use. And he might even, like, it might even be something like say he might be putting in a drainage pipe and there's roots there or something, that ruts that he needs to get out. So he might have to cut a rut or something like that and hit some dirt. So I would say 20 degrees per side probably for him. It'd be a nice tough edge. But let me be clear though, really quick. The higher the edge angle, the lower, the less edge retention you have. So if I have a 30-degree edge bevel and a 17-degree edge bevel, the 17-degree edge bevel, if they're both cutting a non-abrasive material, or like a lightly abrasive material like rope, cardboard, something like that, if they're cutting the same thing, the 17 degrees per side is going to cut longer. The 20 degrees per side is not going to cut as long. And it's because it's not fine enough. So like it breaks down faster. It's able to become stump faster. So, just take that into consideration. But the 17 degrees edge is going to be less tough. So the 30-degree edge, while it's not going to cut as long as the 17 degrees, it will take impact. And the 17 degrees is not going to take as much impact as well. Your code saved me almost 20 bucks on those OG Ojimbo scales. Very cool. Yeah, like I was saying, man, it's surprising. It adds up, especially if you start adding backspacers and clips and all that stuff, man. You'd be surprised how much you can save with a 15% discount code. Neeves. How's it going, everybody? Don't forget that watching the live and not hitting the like button is the same thing as kissing your sister in Kentucky. Smash that like button. Very true, Rochambeau. And well said, too. Well said. Aaron, that's not for me. Yeah. There you go. There's Kyle's sharpening service for anybody who wants to use it. If you dare. I'm just joking. He does some good work. Chris Jones says, dude, I almost forgot where you are from until I hear you say stuff like root or rough or crick. I can't say shit. I pronounce oil all Earl all oil. I usually call oil Earl, but I do that out of sarcasm. But yeah, root. I say it both ways, but I would the root. Yeah, I'd say root instead of root. But roof, I'd say rough instead of roof. But it just depends. TRM does 17 on their factory edge angles and usually comes. Yeah, TRM does, but most companies, right? Even Spyderco does 15 degrees, right? Spyderco is one of the only companies that I know that does 15 degrees. I'm not saying there's no other ones, but they are one of the only ones I know of. But yeah, some companies do 17 degrees, but you're talking about specific companies. The mass majority of companies are going to run it at 22 to 25, possibly even 30 degrees per side. What's the best way to remove thumb studs from AD 20.5? It's a bitch. I don't remember. Probably just, what is it, a flathead or something? I can't remember if I even took them off. If I did, I think they just unscrew off. What it might be red Loctite it on or something. Dan with the 5 bones. Thank you. It's AD's pipe, and he usually uses a Husky utility blade to cut it. And I was hoping to switch to using the Praxis for that. So what I would tell him to do is have his utility blade. Don't stop using your utility blade. Use the utility blade for the most damaging. Like me, right? On the job site. What I did was I had my utility blade for cutting vinyl, for cutting aluminum, for cutting if I had to cut something on concrete or cut something along something like metal or abrasive, I would use my utility blade. But if I needed to cut a strap, a rope, break down some cardboard, cut some twine or something like that, I could just use my pocket knife. And if I'm like up on a ladder, right? If I'm up on a ladder, like this just one time something happened. I'm up on my ladder and what happened was I was what was I replacing? I was replacing drip edge, and there was the roof was really fucking old and it had, I don't even know how many layers of shingles on it. And what happened was from all the different nails and stuff, there was nails in the way from me tucking my drip edge under the shingle, right? So I had to get the fucker up, and then when I was getting those nails out and stuff, there's like this rosin paper under there that ripped and bound up, right? So I had to cut it out. But a utility blade would not reach. So that was a good time for me while I'm up on a ladder. I don't want to climb all the way back down or anything else. My utility blade's not going to work for something like that, but I have to cut it, right? I can pull out my pocket knife, which has a longer blade, and I can get in there and, cut the shit out. So there's a reason to have both, but that doesn't stop you from using your utility blade. Your utility blade should be your number one used knife on a job site because you're, in a lot of cases, cutting things on dirt, rocks, things like that, which will just fuck your edge up. That's why you just want to be able to throw it away. You don't want to treat your pocket knife like that. You want to try to make your pocket knife stay sharp as long as possible. That's why they make disposable blades, and that's another thing. He could just get that tie. What is that thing called? The tie 9. Tie 9 EDC. That's a replaceable bladed knife. He should get one of those, like $20, $20-$30. You get 3 blades. They come really sharp too. They're Scandi grinds, I believe. Might have Loctite. Yeah, I think it's probably just the Loctite. Heat it up. Try heating it up. Not too hot though, because you don't want to hurt the heat treat. But just heat up the stud, not the blade, but heat it up, and they should pop loose. Another thing, what you can do is hit it. So you can put like your bit in it, like just for an example, like say if this thing was Loctited completely shut, I would put the T8 in there just like this, stand it straight up, and then I would smack the back of this with a hammer, making sure it's perfectly straight. Bam! Just once or twice, and that'll break it free. Hey! Dan Cat coming in hot with the 50 bones. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Bang. Miss everyone still on the grind, but have to come drop a dime in support. We'll be here more soon. All right, Dan. I know you've been working hard, man. Stay tough, man. Stay tough. I know it can be rough out there in the wild. Thank you for coming in and dropping a 50 boner super chat, man. I do appreciate it, man. Probably shouldn't have said it like that, but 50 bones. Definitely appreciate that. Yep, again, or a hair dryer, hold a clean soldering gun. That's what I usually use. I'll use like a heat gun, or not heat gun, sorry, a wood burner. You guys know those wood burners? I usually use that. It's kind of like a soldering gun. Use a wood burning thing, and you can just put it on the stud and it'll heat it up without heating the blade too much. But like I said, doing the smack thing with the hammer works really good. Yeah, Dan Cad's the man. He definitely helps out the channel a lot. Back in 2012, I was buying Benchmades and a PM2 that I still have. I got busy and forgot about things I liked. Got back into sharpening and watching knife videos. That's awesome, man. That's definitely awesome. And hey, man, it sounds like you already had some decent knives, so you already knew, at least what a decent knife was. I think a lot of people, what they do is they come into it and they've only ever handled $10 knives, $5 knives, gas station knives. And then they want to know what a $30 knife feels like. 30, 40, $50 knife. Then they do, and they realize, like, holy cow, this is so much better than this $10 piece of shit knife. They start realizing there's such thing as a detent. There's a knife that'll open as rapid as an assisted knife without an assist, So they learn all that, and then they will start thinking, man, if 50 bucks will get me this, what would $100 get me? And then they start going down that rabbit hole. The rabbit hole of titanium, micarta, carbon fiber, 20 CEV, S110V. Daniel Cad with another 20 of bones. Gotta run, everyone. Be safe. Have empathy, and God bless. God bless you, man. Thank you for another 20 bones. I appreciate it, man, so much. And be safe out there, man. Be safe. Work hard, stay tough, and definitely be safe. F-22 kickstop or the superlative infidel. Why can't I think of what that one is? I probably am gonna say the F-22. I don't think I can find it. Oh, the Benchmade. Okay. You're talking about the Benchmade, right? I'm guessing the infidel Benchmade. Why did you call it what you called it, though? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me look what this is. Oh, this thing? Maybe? I don't know. I'm coming up with different things here, man. I got superlative, whatever the hell that is, knives, which this is what I'm guessing you're talking about. Has to be one of these. I haven't tried them, I don't think. Have I? Have I tried this? Let me show you guys what I'm looking at right now. Because maybe you guys don't know either. And you guys are like, what the fuck are you talking about? So this is what I'm finding right now. Is this the guy? Is this what you're talking about? These guys? I'm following them. They have a bunch of different knives. Some look pretty cool. I've never tried them, I don't think. Have I tried them? I don't know. I don't think so. It's hard to remember sometimes. I feel like I've tried this, but I don't know if I actually have or not, if I've just seen it. It's crazy because you see so many knives and when I handle so many knives, remember I've been to Blade Show and stuff, so there's knives I've handled there, and I can't remember everything I handled. Because there's a lot of similar stuff. I don't know. Anyways, I'd probably still say the F-22 just because I know it so well and it is so badass. Use my link though when you buy it. Jared Daniel just gifted 90 memberships. Holy shit. Are you serious? Dude, brother. Are you, man, dude, you're out of your fucking mind. No, he didn't. Holy shit. 50 and 20. Dude. Shout out to Dan Cad, man. Holy cow. This is absolutely insane. 90 members all together. Holy man, I can't believe I can't see them over here. And I guess I didn't see you guys telling me. Damn, Dan. Damn, Dan. You're awesome, man. You know that already, though. Thank you so much, man. Well, shout out to all the new members. Shout out to all the new members. Thank Dan Cad for all the support. And for the members, I keep talking about it. I'm gonna shut down Patreon in December, and we're gonna do only memberships, and probably before that, we're gonna start doing the shit. But by that time, I want to start basically doing a lot more on the membership thing. Let me pull this down. Stay Sharp says, I have only been a Kershaw guy my entire 1-year knife career. Then I ventured to Civic, starting with the Odium and the Lumi, then the Kiwi Plus. Got 2 of those, and now Kaiser. I'm hooked. That's how it goes, and that's the way I did it too. I think that most knife guys, right? They go from the M-Tex, the gas station knives to Kershaw. Kershaw is usually the first line where they get, like, I think Kershaw gets most knife guys into knives. I think that that's the starting point for people that whether you continue to go or you stay there, that's usually the line. Some people it's CRKT, mine is Kershaw. So I started with Kershaw, and it was Kershaw that kind of drew me in. Now I was into knives before that because me and my dad collected knives since I was a kid. I had over 50 knives when I was like 8 years old. They wound up getting stolen, but I had them. Me and my dad had a nice knife collection. After they got stolen, we rebuilt another collection. But which bad things happened to that one too. But still, I have never spent over $300 on a knife, but those Hermans on DLT are tempting. Don't go to DLT. What are you talking about? Go to Polish Custom Knives. Go to Polish Custom Knives. Don't fuck with DLT. What you doing? Go right to the man himself. Go to Polish Custom Knives. That's where you want to go to. It's insulting. You know that? It's very insulting. Polish Custom Knives. Gerber and case for me. I had a very different bucks too. Probably started really taking care of them when I was 12. So I looked at it different when I was a kid. I don't know why I looked at it like this. I don't know what made me do it. I think it was just because of construction, but I thought that nice knives were fixed blades and folding knives were like for like fucking up shit. Like a work knife, right? A folding knife was more for like work, maybe self-defense or something, but the fixed blade was like something. If you were going to have like a nice knife, like if you're going to have like a beautiful knife, it was going to be a fixed blade. So, and we had like a massive fixed blade collection. So like most of the fixed blades we collected were like really hot, like nice, hunting knives, things like that. And some of them weren't like extravagant or nothing, but they were, to me, they were really nice, antler handles, things like that. Some of them were like really sharp, and it just, it made it to where we had like a huge collection of fixed blades. But then I had a bunch of folding knives too, but the folding knives I looked at like you could basically just, use to do anything. Like I would never take one of those fixed blades and go on the job site and cut a bag of concrete open. That's my point. But I would with a folding knife. So I guess that's the way I looked at it. But at the time I didn't know that folding knives went up high end. Then I wound up learning that from my gun magazines. So I had a gun magazine, and it had Spider Co's and a bunch of different companies in there. I think I even seen We Knife Co. in one of them back in the day. And I was looking at these knives. Some of them were in titanium and stuff, and they were so expensive, but it was so damn intriguing. Like I was like, man, I wish I could try that. I didn't have the money. Even if I had the money, I would never spend it, because it's like going from a $30-$40 knife to a $300 knife. That's a big fucking jump. So most people don't do that. So they look at it and they want to know, and they'll say in their head, who would ever spend that much on a knife? They do that to themselves because they want to spend the money, but they're just not willing to. Polish knives, baby. Mr. Herman would even feel disrespected. I know, that's what I'm saying. Fucking disrespecting the man. I paid over $500 for a McNeese Mac 2, and I'm returning it. I wanted to love the knife so bad, but the detent is ridiculous, and it's a real pain in the ass to reliably deploy. Heartbreaking weak. Yeah, return that fucker. The ones that I have tried a couple with weak detents. So let me be clear. I know what you're talking about, but I've also handled some with really, really good detents. So, return it, or possibly just exchange it, or have him tune it up, because he can make it stronger. You can send to him. He'll make it stronger. All you got to do is tune the lock bar. You can make it stronger technically if you're willing to do it. Man, the Assassin, what a damn good knife, man. I really need it. I think I have an Assassin XL. I need to pull that thing out. I have a whole bunch of new Kaisers here. They're not going to be dropping until like September 3rd. There's a couple bangers in here. Some bangers. There's some premium and some budget bangers. There's one that in particular, it kind of reminds me of the large Assassin, but in a liner lock form. There's also another button lock version, kind of like this too, but really, really cool. Kershaw's a cool brand. I tell my folks to always start there. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good place to start for sure. I would even say like start with the USA made Kershaws. Those are the ones you want to start with. They have the little bit better steels. I was fortunate to get past an older K bar that was my grandfather's from the early 1900s. Stacked leather handle, bird and trout. Very cool. Yeah, that's very cool. I remember seeing those. I can't remember if we had one of those. We had a lot of stuff. Listen to this. Every single one has that sound too. The Assassin. If you want a budget knife that has that ting, it's this one. So good. Another knife. We were talking about false shutting knives. Holy shit. The Kaiser land. I almost never talk about the land anymore. I'm going to put it in a video. I got to put it in a video. Look at this thing. I'll show you. I can't get my fingers out of the way fast enough. You would think that this thing was loose, but it is rock solid in all dimensions or all directions. This is a good one. I should have got the Tonto too, because it has the same clip right here, the Tonto. So your tip is going to be the same, but you're going to get that secondary tip in the dual grind, because this one does have a dual grind. I don't know if you can see it. Mine's a little messy. I feel McNeese is a little overpriced. Seems like a good knife, but I don't know. But I don't never handle it. Yeah, they are. So they're USA made. So it's tough, man. It's tough because they're USA made. They're titanium. I can kind of understand the price. I'm not going to say they're not a little overpriced. I would say a lot of people would consider them overpriced, and I know that. But for what you're getting, you know, the price is pretty much standard as far as the materials go. And they are very well done. They are good knives. Now, here's my issue with them. And this was an issue that I had with them even, you know, way before. I had some in for sharpening. There was nothing wrong with the steels. The steels were fine, but the geometry was just entirely way too thick for the size of knife it was. To me, it just didn't make sense. Like, this geometry on this with these ergonomics just don't make sense. So that's what I didn't like about it. But then, you know, I did try other ones that had a little bit better geometry, and you know, that in particular was a custom. So there's so many you know, because as time goes on, it seems like they've gotten better. They've been refined. So getting a brand new one's going to be different than one from like 5 years ago. That's funny, Nick. The same thing happened to me. My dad gave me a buck knife that was ginormous, backlock with a slip. I don't know what model, looked like a 110, but it was just like a 10. Do you know what's hilarious, Nick? Same thing happened to me when I was 6 years old. My dad gave me, that was my first knife. That was my first knife. It was literally, it was just like a buck 110, but it was massive, absolutely massive, barely fit in my pocket. And what I would do is I would fold it and put it in my back pocket. My grandma seen me one time with this fucking folding machete, and she starts freaking out. And my dad started snapping, like, "Don't you tell my boy what to do. My boy can carry whatever fucking knife he wants to, and he better." And that's the way my dad would talk. So, you know, I always carried a knife since I was a little kid. It was like mandatory. So, and that one, man, I could barely close it because, you know, opening it was, I had to muscle it, but to close it, the backlock was so strong, I would hold it and push it against the table to get it to press because I wasn't strong enough. That's how big it was. Yeah, the McNees are hollow ground now. Yeah. McNees is constantly improving. I really like mine. Yeah. Yeah, I think that, like I said, I think now that they've improved a lot. I got to try them again at Blade Show, and they were really nice. They were really nice. I was very happy with them. I almost bought one. That's how nice they were. I almost bought one. I definitely like the bigger ones more than the small ones. Um, you ever get into carrying pry bars? I want a nice guy machine company lady figure. Just looks really cool. Yeah, yeah. So I carried a pry bar for a long time when I was still working. I carried my my tail of knives belt organizer, and it would carry my knife, it would carry a pry bar, a flashlight, things like that. But I have some now, like I have one like right next to me right now from Vero. But it's a little long to just carry in my pocket, but I like it a lot though. And I do carry it sometimes. So I do carry it sometimes. I use it a lot though. I use it right here on my bench. So that's where I, you know, work most of the time now is right here, you know, at the bench. So, or at my sharpening bench. So, you know, I don't really walk around with them too much. I do have them in my bag. So it's not like I don't have one. I always have one prepared in my backpack. But as far as in my pocket, I haven't been carrying any lately. Not that I won't though in the future. Bought my first folder at 9 years old and was proud of that. Made in Pakistan. Buck 110 clone. Still have it. That is awesome, Todd. And speaking about Pakistan knives, you should always stay away from. We got a big old baddie right here. Look at this thing. I've had this thing since about I can't say where it came from, but about 2 years before my dad passed away, he gave this to me. Um, he got it from a deal. So But yeah, it's pretty badass. I've actually chopped a lot with it. It's the edge is just fucking wrecked. But you know, I chopped a lot with it, so like I don't imagine the steel is like bad, but I also don't imagine it's good. I've dealt with so much Pakistan steel that's absolute fucking garbage, so it probably is. What's your thoughts on K390 or Maximet? I love K390. K390 is my favorite steel. Maximet, it's a great steel as long as you're just cutting regular stuff. As long as you're only cutting rope, plastic, cardboard, paper, things like that, wood, things like that, Maximet's great. I would say if you're doing wood, I would say with very, very hard woods, it might not be good for. But especially if you're going to be doing any sort of, you know, like prying or scraping or anything like that. But if you're just cutting stuff, Maximet is a phenomenal steel, but that's what it's built for. It's built for max edge retention, kind of like we were talking about earlier with S110V, kind of the same thing, where it is specifically for cutting high wear resistant. You know, it's a high wear resistant steel that's holding an edge for a very, very long time. So it's made for high performance cutting. It's not made for impact or anything like that. K390 has a little bit more toughness in it, and I like K390 a little bit better because, or a lot more, because of its ability to take edges. It takes some of the most insanely sharp edges I've ever gotten on a steel. You liking Magna Cut? Any recommendations? I do like Magna Cut. I personally like it the most between 63 and 64 HRC. Um, I've noticed the way it takes an edge, the way it holds an edge, all of that, you know, increases with its HRC. Now, that doesn't mean getting it at 61, 62 that it's bad. It's not bad. It's fine, but it's not going to be as good as 63 or 64. But yeah, I like Magna Cut a lot, actually. It's super tough, very corrosion resistant, and it holds a really good edge. My first knife was from the dollar store, not one of these big chain dollar stores, but back when they were owned by East Indian dudes and sold playing cards with naked ladies and switchblade combos. That's hilarious. Jared, I can see your dad having a cane, sword, throwing stars, nunchucks, and one of those balls. Yeah, no, he did have some he did have like machetes pushed up into the like we had a machete up in the ceiling, like it was like pushed up in the ceiling so he could grab it at any time. But we had like a huge gun collection and stuff. He was like he liked knives, fixed blade stuff because he hunted. Um, you know, he loved hunting and he did like weapons, but not like those types of weapons. He wasn't into swords and things like that. Um, he was into, you know, like I said, guns and then knives. Um, and explosives. Oh, and bow and arrows. He was a huge, like he was like he had trophies up the ass from the competitions he won with bow. But and I was even in leagues back then, like back in the day. But after he got hurt, obviously he couldn't shoot his bow no more. Cameron with the 5 bones. Thank you, man. I appreciate the 5 bones. Thank you so much. Anyone else carry a penknife in grade school for peeling apples? We lived in different times growing up. I definitely carried a knife when I was a kid, but I don't know if I carried a penknife though. Rex 45, great. I mean, I don't have nothing bad to say about it. I can't really speak about it too much because I need to get more of it to really, really be able to speak on it, you know, in a good way, you know. I liked my experience that I've had with it, but I need more. Would you compare soft Magna Cut to soft M390 SS35? What would you compare soft Magna Cut to if soft M390 is like S35? Um, Probably the same. Yeah, I'd probably just say the same thing. I would say as far as edge retention goes, the one test that I did, or two tests that I did, it was like 100 and something feet difference between 6162 and 6364. So if say it's 140 feet, 130 feet, something like it was between 100 and like 130 feet, something like that. So let's just say 100 feet, right? If it's 100 feet more, right? 130 feet more, whatever. You know, I would say that that's, you know, probably into S35 territory, you know. So like I said, it doesn't mean it's bad, right? And you're still getting the other qualities from it. It's super, super tough. Um, which is also something why another reason why it's able to take such a, you know, a good low angle edge, you know, for high levels of sharpness, you know, even at good HRCs like 63 to 64. But I'm not sure how it is with thin geometry though. And I say that not from experience on anything whatsoever, but if you notice the Kershaw leak, it has a hollow grind with 14C. They used MagnaCut on the leak and they did a flat grind. And I don't know who said it or where I seen it, but I think I seen something from Kershaw saying that, you know, the difference in the steel, you know, is the reason why they did a flat grind. So that something about that kind of made me think that maybe, I'm not sure if this is true, but maybe MagnaCut's not that great with super, super, super thin geometry. And I'm talking about very thin geometry, you know, like a 90, 80 thousandths blade stock thickness, you know. But I don't know. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Louis says, Michael, I would stay away from China M390. It is usually soft. You can't go wrong with Spyderco knives. I would always recommend anybody to go into the U.S. if you can afford it. If you can go to the U.S., and you can afford it. But let's be clear, Louis, even most of the USA companies are running a soft. Spyderco is running it good. So, yeah, you can't go wrong with Spyderco. But as far as China goes, there's a bunch of companies doing it decently. Like Riet does a good job with it. But yeah, the majority of companies across the board do M390 soft. The overwhelming majority. I got a new one. I checked the model number. It's a V2, so that makes me happier than Kyle. All right, we got to get to fragrance today because we got to get story time. Just bought a couple of leaks to try cheap Kershaws again, and I would not say they have super thin geometry. Still great knives though. It depends on which one. So, like the Kershaw leak was the one I was just talking about. That thing has thin geometry. It's not that it's super thin behind the edge, but it's like 100,000 blade, 90,000 blade stock thickness with a hollow grind. So that tells you it's thin. Um, but they have knives that have thin geometry. They also have knives with super thick geometry. So it just depends on which one it is. They have a lot of models. Yes, exactly. Exactly. The real question is, what would you compare soft surgical steel to my dick? Can you even go softer than Microtech for melts like ice cream? Oh, he said it, not me. Do Spyderco's made in Italy have soft HRC? You know, I don't know. I've always questioned that myself because, to my knowledge, that Spyderco makes their companies, the companies that are doing their steels, do their heat treat protocol. I don't know how true that is because I also wonder the same thing about the new M4 Tenacious, right? The Tenacious is made in China. Remember, San Remnu makes it. So if Sam Remnu in China is the one making Spyderco Chinese knives, are they running it the way they would do their M4 in the USA or in Taiwan? I don't know. But to my knowledge, they always made it seem like that whoever's doing their heat treatment, whether it's in Taiwan, Japan, or the USA, that they have to use their heat treat protocol. Does that mean Italy's able to do it? I mean, I don't see why they couldn't do it. I think the reason why they don't do it on their own stuff isn't because they can't. It's because they want to save the money on the tooling, the grinding, the belts, and all that shit. So it's just easier for them. That's why they do it. They can pump out more knives faster, right? So if you can machine knives faster, then you know you're getting more production out there and at lower cost, right? Like it's kind of a no-brainer. So, and they know the overwhelming majority of people don't pay attention to that shit. So, have you found CRK's Magnum Cut 63640 BK? I haven't tested it. I have not tested it yet, so I don't know. I want to get some on the channel. I'd like to I need to get a hold of Tim and see if he can't just possibly send me one. I have the Wii KAVISO Praxis, and I love this knife, thinking about getting a mini civic Praxis just to see how it compares. Yeah. The regular Praxis is badass too, though. You know, the $40 large regular Praxis. Oh yeah. There's backlashes right now. Like you can get backlashes, I think it's on Blade HQ for like $30 right now or something like that. Which is such a good deal, man. Those are such good knives. Like that is the one knife that I say competes neck and neck with a Praxis. All right, so let's talk about this. So I have something new I tried. So it's called Musk and Husk. Musk and Husk. So what they have is they have these nitro pens. And what they are is they're fragrance rollers. So the fragrances that they have in them are clones of extremely popular fragrances. So some of the most loved fragrances out there, they clone the fragrance, and then they put it into an oil, and they put it in a little bottle, and you roll it on. So you take it like this, roll it on like that, dab, dab, dab like that, put it wherever you want after that, roll it on a little bit right there, dab it on right there. That's how you use it. And it's high concentration. So this stuff's powerful. Holy shit, powerful. In a good way. I mean that in a good way. Now, this is the Baccarat. I got all the things. So you get cards with them. They tell you how to use them. I'm not affiliated with it in any way, shape, or form. But this was the Baccarat Rouge 540. And I'll tell you what. So two things. One, after testing it, I had to get a clone fragrance of it. So I did. I got two. I got this one and this one. This one is the original, which I think it's a little too sweet for me. It is. It's really good, but it's just too sweet. It is very, very, very sweet. It reminds me of King of the Jungle. It's great, and I think there are times when it'll work great. But the other one, remember, this is the clone, so it's not Baccarat Rouge 540. It's the clone of it. So the Baccarat Rouge 540 is expensive as fuck. Let me just be clear really quick. Some of the fragrances we're going to talk about that we're cloning, like they're very fucking expensive. Oh wait, I think I might have messed up just now. Oh yeah, this one's not the Baccarat. Hold on a second. Yeah, this one is actually. I messed up. This one is ombre leather. So what the hell's his name? Tom Ford ombre leather. Tom Ford ombre leather is probably $400, right? So to get that for 30, 40 bucks, something like that, is insane, especially with this, because this is highly concentrated. But again, the Baccarat Rouge 540, I don't know, I think that's like a $300 fragrance or something. These are like, this is like 20 bucks, 30 bucks, and it smells identical. I watched multiple different tests from different people, and they're all saying it smells identical. So this one I like better, though. The Amber Oud, this exact fragrance right here. You can look it up if you want to. This one, it's still very sweet, but it has like the amber in it that is more resinous, so it seems thicker and yeah, less airy. This one's so sweet and airy, but I'll tell you what, man. Baccarat Rouge 540, fucking fire. Here, let me show you the name of it so you guys can look it up. It is really good. People have been recommending this fragrance to me for like over a year now, and this is the first time I'm trying it. And yeah, I get it. I get it. It is very, very fucking good. But what I like even more is the Tom Ford ombre leather. The Tom Ford ombre leather. That's what I got right here in this bottle. That's what I just put on. It is so, so good. It's similar to the Baccarat Rouge 540. They have a lot of similarness, but I like it more. Now, I also tried Polo Black. So the Polo Black one would be, well, their version of the Polo Black. I have found that I like to mix it. So what I do is I put you're supposed to mix these. So what they do is they tell you fragrances, like which ones to mix, which ones not to mix. They show you which ones will work good, which ones to avoid. And it's really cool. So I noticed that these two, when you mix them together, it makes your own unique fragrance. Like it can be totally like your signature fragrance and nobody else will have it. And that's what's awesome about it. And holy cow, do these things smell good. Now, my buddy in the chat right now, Mr. Bones, doesn't like the rollers, right? Some people are going to like them. Some people are not. I personally do like them. I just do it exactly how I'm supposed to. Dab, dab, dab really quick, and it winds up soaking in. And it's nice and strong. I smell it all day. It's really, really good. You can put it everywhere. But when you're used to sprays, it can be a little different switching to a roller. But they do have little containers like this too that you can just grab like a quick little slap and then take your finger and dab it where you want. This was the Baccarat Rouge 540. Sweet smells in here. But anyways, but I just wanted to show you guys this the Husk and Musk. The Husk and Musk, if you go to their website, I'll just pull it up really quick. Like I said, I'm not affiliated with them. I will try to maybe get one. I've been trying to get something from some fragrance company because I talk enough about fragrances that I should. But here, let's just look at it really quick. So you can see they have the containers. I don't recommend these. I recommend just get the nitro rollers. I think they're much better. This is the same stuff. It's the same oil. For some reason, I thought that it was like the same thing as a fragrance spray, but it's not. It's an oil. So it's completely different. It's a stronger concentration in an oil. But I even got Kara a whole box of testers. But anyways, you can see all the different fragrances they have there. And you can see the price too, anywhere from $6.50 to $78, depending on which one you're gonna get. The little what are they called? The nitros. Let me look it up really quick. So the nitros are $20 for this fragrance. So that's not bad. For that container, that's actually really good when you consider what's in there, right? Like if we go to a Tom Ford, let's look up a Tom Ford fragrance because Tom Fords are like the most loved fragrances on the planet probably are from Tom Ford. Looking for one. Rose. There's Nautica Voyage right there. I always recommend that. Here we go. Tom Ford Ombre Leather. This is one of the ones I got. There's all different. See, this one's $24 for, and if you got that same amount from Tom Ford, you're going to be spending a lot more. I'll tell you that much. Royal Oud by Creed. Anyways, they have all the top tier fragrances. I have some some clones coming right now of what is it? Tom Ford's Tobacco Oud and Oud Leather, I think I got. And I'm excited about them because after testing some of the Tom Ford, I've never tried a real Tom Ford. Let me be clear. I've never tried real Tom Ford, but after testing, man, it should smell so good. After testing the clones of the Tom Fords, I know now that Tom Ford is one of my favorite fragrance companies. His shit, man, everything I've smelt from him so far has been so damn good. But anyways, I know I'm also one that one of the talking about tobacco fragrance, that Mancera Red Tobacco is a banger. That's the one that that Bones turned me on to. All right, so what the fuck? I used to wear Icy Miyake back in the day, and man, it was good stuff. I don't know what that one is. The Tom Ford Oud Wood is expensive, but worth it. See, there you go. I've heard Oud Wood is really good. I actually got some of that coming. I think I have some of that too. The Oud Wood. I forget the woods I have, but I think I have the Oud Wood coming too because I heard so much about that too. Oh, I heard it's really good. So we'll see. You had a sample bottle and loved it. So I heard another guy talk about, he said, and he's like a fragrance guy. He said he wound up buying like the body spray, the body wash, like everything, like the whole thing of that scent. He loved it so much. So it made me feel like that's probably a really good scent. But if you're gonna get it from actual Tom Ford, man, that's expensive. I don't mind getting the clones as long as it is identical, or as long as it's as close to it as possible. Yeah, I got a bunch of the Club Dini clones. I got a bunch of them. They hit right in the money and sometimes stronger than the originals. Yeah, I got a couple of theirs. I actually got it's funny is when I bought the Baccarat Rouge 540, I was trying all the clones. I bought that clone too. I didn't bring it out here. This one's just as good. The thing is that there's two different 540s. There's the because they have different versions, and the original version is the version that the Club Uni cloned. This is the one that I think is better because, like I said, it's more resinous. You know, it has that amber in it. French clone, Japanese designer. Huh. Yeah, I don't know who that is. Sounds like I need to try them though. I should write that down. Huh. Smart man, these clones are almost exactly like the original that cost 10 times. Trust me, I have both. Yeah, no, I know, and I have tried. Like I have, I still have a little sample bottle of Creative Ventus, and I have my Club Uni, and they are Cedric Boys, I think is the name. Oh no, sorry, that's the Mancera. Sorry, the Club Uni Mancera, Cedric Boys also smells like Creative Ventus. Little different, but almost exact. Like I like it a little bit better, to be honest. But the Club Uni smells identical to Creative Ventus. Some people, you know, that are real fucking enthusiasts will smell it and say that the Club Uni smells a little bit more synthetic. And yeah, probably, but to everybody else's nose, they're not going to be able to smell that. They're just not going to be able to smell that. Like it's just they're so close, they're so identical that I can't tell the difference. I'd stumble to be able to tell you which one was which. Is there a difference between a roller versus an atomizer? So the atomizer, I don't know. I didn't try their atomizer. Let me look really quick. Motherfucker. Let me just grab one of them really quick and look. Product size. I don't see. Oh, so yeah, and they don't sell atomizers. You're talking about something else. I thought you were talking about the Husk and Musk. I don't see atomizers. So yes, an atomizer is one of these. This is an atomizer. You can refill them too. So like I take these and I'll pour, or after using them all, I'll put some alcohol in there, shake them up, and get the scent out, and then put a new scent in there. Take the sticker off, and then I'll send it to somebody else. So then I'll be able to pass along. I also buy these so that I can fill them and send them to people. So I send out fragrances to people all the time to try. The waistline. I would probably recommend to stay away from it. If I remember correctly, it has stupid thick geometry. Like, it's ridiculously thick, if I remember correctly. Yes, yes. See, 150 thousandths blade stock thickness. That's unacceptable for a knife like that. Don't buy that. I personally stay away from it. Yeah. So when you look at a knife, you want to get a knife that's okay. So that knife's purpose is to stab. That's it. If you want a knife to stab, then yes, that's a good knife to get. It'll stab like a motherfucker, but it's not going to cut. So that is not a good EDC knife. It could be a good poking knife, but that's it. So unless if you're going to get it for that reason only, I would get something else, because other knives will poke just as good, but will also slice. That knife is set up for, it has stupid thick geometry for such a narrow blade. It's really bad. Like, it's even worse than the 940. Like, way worse. I got my S90 VPM2 kitted out with Flytanium Lotus scales and a tritium lanyard plug. Feeling hella fancy. Hell yeah. Anyone got any good National Knife Day deals? Like I said, Kaiser's got some. Kaiser's got some deals. Go to Blade HQ. Blade HQ has let's see, they got some stuff on their sales. Let's check it out really quick, and then we'll talk. Then we'll do some story times. We gotta get the story time. Here's Blade HQ, link down in the description. They got, oh, that's cool. They got an LT right for $224 right now. I know it's only 13% off, but hey, this is just like what's on their sale thing. There's more than this that they have on sale that they're not going to show. But they always have stuff on sale. $30 for a riffle, man. That's crazy. This is a good knife too. But like I said, Kaiser's got some deals. I'm sure all the companies basically got deals. Let's check out Artisan. Oh, here it is. Look at that. The Backlash for 25 bones. That is crazy. That is such a good price. I almost want to buy it, man. I hate that it's discontinued. But for other people, man, I would 100% buy this if I was you. Like, this is wood right here. Wood scale, so it's even the nice one with the ebony wood. Fuck me. I think it's so dope. So dope. Nice deep hollow grind, really good geometry. That's a great knife. Like, just a solid knife all the way around. Is this the Magna Cut one? No, it's the 14C one. Kershaw Leak's always dope. They got the Cormorant and S35 for 122. They might have it cheaper on Kaiser's site. I'm not sure. Anyways, it was my first Civivi. That's a cheap Backlash. Yeah, it's a fucking damn good price, man. Just took my break to see this. What's up, Trey? What's up, brother? We're about to do story time now. So let's transition into story time. Well, first off, I was going to open it up to any questions about the video I did, because I know like when making a video like that, like I could literally take an hour and just one part of that story, right? And literally do a whole story on just one part. Like, so to be able to fit it all in a 20-30 minute video, I can't get into details, right? I have to skip through stuff and pick certain details that are important, right? But I also had to skip a lot of important details. There's a lot of details I didn't put in there, so I was gonna leave it open. Like, if there's any questions or whatever, just say them. I know in the comment section I had 1,000, like 100, like I don't even know. There's a ton of comments in that video. I'm trying to get to them all. I'm probably not going to be able to get to every single one of them, but I'm going to get to most of them. I've been going through them every day, so but I did see a lot of questions in there. Some, I didn't answer. Some of them I did. But now's the time. Now's the time. I felt you, man. You showed great courage, and that was painful at parts in the history. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't mind talking about it. I don't mind talking about it at all. But anytime when you're like really like trying to deep dive into the emotion, like, and really think of it in a thoughtful way of like the way your brain was operating and thinking in that moment, you're gonna, show some sort of emotion. Otherwise, you're a fucking alien or a robot. But I don't mind talking about it. Not even a little bit. Like, I've definitely gone to a great place mentally, physically, and I'm super healthy in every way, and I'm doing so good and have moved so far away from who I was that it's easy for me to talk about now. It's easy for me to talk about because it's been a while, and then even like some of the tragedies and stuff, they've been so long. Like, I've already cried my tears, so I have no problem talking about the shit. I feel like we are all a couple of decisions from heading down the same path. That's true. That's true. I think, like I was saying about people, in the story that, the things you get used to. I think the reason why some people don't, or a lot of people don't, is because out of fear, I think, is one of the biggest things. Like you wouldn't want to go and do something because of the potential danger, right? Or the potential backlash or the potential this. So it's out of fear why you don't. But when you're desensitized to the fear of doing certain things, then it can be all downhill from there. When you take away that fear, which you should absolutely have, which everybody should absolutely have, it can make it to where, like, if you're not scared to go and I don't know, kick somebody's door in and beat them up, right, for doing something bad, right, something like that, right, instead of calling the cops. Let's just say that's a thing. Let's say instead of you calling the cops on somebody for doing something, you just go handle it yourself, right? Like, that takes a lot. You got to take that fear out. Like, if you're like, there's obviously going to be some sort of nervousness of the unknown, but if you've done it a few times, the fear goes away, and it becomes just a part of the deal. But if you're used to calling the cops, like, to me, like, I've never called the cops. I've never ever called the cops. I can't imagine ever calling the cops. I've always looked at them as the enemy. Like, if calling them would be the last thing I would do in any situation, just about, at least forever. Like, maybe now, maybe, not saying I would, but maybe, under certain circumstances, right? If I see a kid get hit by a car or something, yeah, okay. But like, as far as something that happens to me, or something in my surroundings, like, I'm not fucking calling the cops for nothing. I feel like they're just gonna make it worse or do something, I don't. Anyways, but if that's what you're used to doing, then that's what you're gonna do, and it takes the fear out of it for you. But to me, that's where my fear comes in. My fear would come in with the cops. If you want to know more, join the Bang Gang, fuckers. Man, I can't believe we have 90 new members. Hey, bud, love the video in your past. Keep up the great work. Thank you, EDC. Thank you very much. I've never called the cops either. You could be the next to go. This is what I've always figured. Oh yeah, you're always very. I think all of us are all very close to death. Always, every time you walk down a sidewalk, like my buddy. I didn't get into it in that video, but the one buddy that I lost when I was a kid, when I was like, I think I was like 14. My best friend got hit by a car. He just left my house. He was riding his bike home. We had just gotten into a bunch of trouble too. The cops were actually coming to pick me up the next day, and we just went and got in a bunch of trouble. And the cops let us go, and they were letting us go because they didn't have the evidence, but they were going to get the evidence, which I know they got. So by letting us go, if they wouldn't have let us go, this is the catch-22, and this is kind of crazy. If they wouldn't have let us go, he'd still be alive. But they let us go. Went back to my house. He left and rode his bike home and wound up. A lady was driving and putting on her makeup or something and swerved and hit him. Something like that. That's what I heard. And killed him on impact. And yeah, and at the time, since I was so young at the time too, that was the first death I really dealt with, and the first death was the closest person to me. So it was tough. But after that, then you get desensitized to shit like that. I'm looking at the Misc website. Do you recommend the sample bundles or just try individually? Yeah, I would recommend definitely a sample bundle if you can, especially if you're getting the thing is, I don't know if they do the nitro pens in the sample bundle. So as long as it's the mini nitro pens, yeah. As long as it's because they have mini rollers or the big rollers. As long as it's the mini rollers, then yes, I do. But remember, like the oil is an oil, so it's not like a spray. It's not like this stuff, where it's a spray. So don't expect that. Remember, it's an oil, and when you put it on, you're just gonna take a little bit. That's all it's gonna take, just a little roll, and then you can dab it and you can smell it. But it's something that I personally like it, but I know not everybody. Some people would rather have a spray, which I do like a spray too. But man, when you realize like that how concentrated it is, I personally love it because it'll last a lot longer. Being an oil, it has a little bit more of a sillage. Next month, Boker will start selling my first design, the sprocket. I also have a whole bunch of knives in the pipeline with Kaiser. Since I watch your videos, I really look out for those sharpening tools. You better. If I get one of your damn designs on here now, and your plunge isn't perfect, I'm just joking. Anyone out here going to grab a Flytanium arcade? Hey, there are many ones, right? Pick up some soon. Hell yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I got Kara the pack of samples that were the mini rollers. That's what I got her, was a sample pack. What kind of realness is what's going to separate you from other channels, content creators? People can relate, and that will build a bond with your followers, giving you true core fan base. I agree. I think it's difficult for a lot of people to be. It's not that they're not real. Like everybody can be real, right? They're still being themselves, but they have to separate a little bit because you don't know the people on a personal level. So it's difficult when you don't know the people on a personal level to get personal. You know what I mean? With yourself, because they're not getting personal with themselves. So you got to choose that, right? Are you willing to or not? Like that's it. Like you have to draw the line. And for people that don't, I don't hold it against them because a lot of people, they're not willing to cross that line. So, but once you do, you have to, right? So it's either one or the other. You're either gonna or you're not. You're either letting the people in or you're not. And there's nothing wrong with either one. Okay, you got me wanting to try freaking rollers again, you dickhead. Just saying. Tell you what, man, they're really good. I personally, maybe it's this company's stuff though. Their oils, like I said, they're highly concentrated, and that's what I love about them. So you're getting, like, it seems that the roller could last a good long time. Obviously depending on how much you use it. Titanium Shark Lax looks cool with arcade. Huh. Thank you, Stones. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. My children have been taught to never speak to cops under any circumstances. Yeah, I'd teach my kids the same way. I would and which is sad. It's sad. But that's just reality, right? Your kids should definitely know that by talking to a cop, the cop is literally interrogating you without you even knowing it. Everything you're saying to them will be used against you, right? And they're just, it's almost like they're always in detective mode, and they're always taking your information, and they're willing to flip it on you in a second. So by just keeping your mouth shut, it goes so much better, so much better. I've been in dozens and dozens of altercations with police, and when I was a kid, I opened my mouth one time when I was really, really young, and it was against everything my father taught me. And he was so mad, not mad that I got arrested, not mad that I'm getting on probation. He was mad that I opened my fucking mouth and believed him. And I didn't rat at anybody, nothing like that, but I ratted on myself. I admitted what I did when I was a little kid. So, but he'd always taught me, you don't tell them fucking nothing. Nothing. He always told me, they lie to you, they lie to you, they lie to you. Like, do not believe anything they say. And that's what they did to me. They manipulated a little kid and lied to a little kid, being a bunch of big, heavy set, detectives. It's intimidating. You're in an interrogation room, and they're lying through their teeth to you, and you feel like these are the police. I should be able to trust them, right? They're going to tell me the truth. Wrong answer. So that's what they did, and I wound up admitting what I did, and it's what inevitably got me in trouble. Blah 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 blah. But yeah, like I said, my dad was so, and then I got busted again, like a month later, 2 months later. It was almost like I redeemed myself. Isn't this crazy? It's almost like I redeemed myself. So I got pinched, and what I got pinched for wound up making everything else come back. So this is what happened. When I got on probation, they were going to drop the things from my juvenile thing, the thing I got busted for. They were going to drop it as long as I didn't get in trouble for 6 months. That's all I had to do, is stay clean for 6 months. 30 days later, I got arrested for what did I get arrested for? A bunch of things. But what they did was they took the other charges and they tacked it on there, because they basically, the charges that were going to be taken away from me being clean for 6 months now get applied. So now it really mattered now. So, but when they brought me in though, they were trying to intimidate me. They were trying to do everything, and I kept my mouth shut. They were trying to get me to snitch on people, like all kinds of shit, and I kept my mouth shut. And that's when, the way I treated cops and police, everything changed after the first time. They actually showed it to my house one time. I remember my mom, she's not in here no more, luckily. But she was there, and she opened the door to a bunch of detectives, and they wanted to come in and talk to me. Well, when they came in, I'm a kid, right? I'm a kid. They sit down, they start reading me my rights, and I know my rights now. So I tell them to get the fuck out of my house. And I tell them just like that. I said, I'm not saying shit to you. I have nothing to say to you. You can get the fuck out. And that's literally what I said. My mom just sat there quietly. She didn't say nothing. She let me handle it. And they folded up their book, their big ass investigation that they had all stacked up, folded it up, got up, tried to threaten me on the way out the door. And, the threats go in one ear, not the other now. I used to believe, when you're a kid, you believe the little threats, but they're all bullshit. I had a cop one time in an interrogation room trying to tell me that they were trying to talk to me to help me, right? They're trying to help me. And at the same time, while they're trying to blame me, and I was innocent. Let me be clear. I can admit anything I've done. I was innocent, right? I did not do what they said I did. So knowing I didn't do what they said I did, they're literally trying to pin something on me. And I'm telling them to go fuck their stuff. I'm not talking to you no more. I want a lawyer, right? So now they get all, now they're mad because I want a lawyer. Now they can't talk to me anymore legally. So they start saying, well, now we're not going to be able to help you. And I just looked at because it was a lady. I looked at her and I said, help me. I said, you're sitting here trying to bust me, or you're trying to pin something on me. What do you mean help me? And it's just funny, the manipulation, like you're like, how stupid do you think I am? Especially at this point, when I'm older, because at that time, now I'm an adult too, by the way. I'm an adult. So I obviously know a lot more. Now I've, been through just about everything when it comes to the cops. So, this was not my first rodeo for an interrogation. It was probably my 10th at that time. So, it wasn't, I don't make it easy for them. And I know, and in some cases, I think it's funny because I've been in there so much that I know when I'm leaving, I know I'm leaving because the fact that I'm in here right now means I'm leaving as long as I keep my fucking mouth shut. And that's the catch-22 that people don't realize. If you're in an interrogation room, 9 times out of 10, you can leave. You can walk out. They can't hold you. And even if they can hold you for 24 hours for interrogation, as long as you don't talk, they're going to have to let you go. Every word you speak, greater, your chances are greater for not leaving. That's what you got to realize. The more you talk to them, the more likely you are not going to leave. You are going to be locked up. As long as you keep your mouth shut, you're leaving. Caps do play dirty nowadays. It's not the 1950s no more. I would say they've always done it, but yeah, I'd say in the 50s the difference was we had more rights. So this is the problem with giving up your rights. Back in the 50s and back in the day, it was, things were just normal, right? Like it was normal, like say for you to walk around with a gun. It was normal for you to blow things up and shoot things and do this and do that. Like you could drive around in the back of a truck, right? Like riding your kids around. You could be drinking, you could smoke everywhere. Like there were so many freedoms. Like it was real freedom. And now it's like they're just taking little tiny inch by inch freedoms, lure you in, and it gets to a point to where cops have so much more to work with now, right? Oh, your tail lights out, even though like if you know your rights, like you can know that they technically can't use that to short your car or anything like that. So, but they'll try to use those things, even though they legally can't, but they will, because anyways. But now the one blessing we do have is badge cams. Badge cams are saving us so much now. And sorry, even more importantly, our phones, because their badge cams will it will get erased. They will get lost. Unless if there's another video somewhere. So it's smart for you to have everything filmed. You should film everything when it comes to police because they are less likely to, you'll literally watch their whole attitude change, the way they talk to you, everything when the camera comes out. They'll go from being a complete dickhead trying to violate all your rights to now being an upstanding, cop. What's crazy is when they still are tyrannical, even on camera. You can imagine, like, man, what would you be like without a badge cam? But, and I'm not saying there's not good ones out there, guys. I obviously know there's great ones. I've ran into a lot of great ones. There's a bunch I speak very highly on because I think they hold true to what they swore an oath to do, which was uphold the Constitution and protect our rights. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be protecting us, not out trying to bust us. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Shit out shotguns, knives. Today, Don't trust anybody, especially 5-0. The TV show The Wire has some great police interrogation scenes, shows lots of the tricks in their trading, preying on a community trust or naivety, being naive of their rights. Yeah. Yeah, if you're that's the problem is they are banking on you not knowing your rights. You know what? You know it's I think this is horrible. What I think is horrible is that they don't know their own rights. They know it like they had to swear the oath, but they should know it forwards and backwards. They should literally be able to cite the entire thing like the Lord's Prayer, but they can't. So since they don't, they expect you not to be able to. They expect you not to know all your rights. So if you do know your rights, you already have a leg up on them because now you already know more than them because most of them only know a few of them. You're the ones that they run into the most. I should have 3 DUIs, but back then they made you walk home and took your keys and left them in the car so you'd have them the next day. Right. Yeah. Yeah. See, and I remember back in the day seeing a lot of stuff like that. It was a lot easier for you to be connected with the police. And I mean connected in ways like where you talk to them, you see them day to day, you respect them. So when something happens, like say a week later, if you get into a bar fight or something, when he shows up, he's not going to show up to kill you or to zap you or to spray you. He's going to show up as your buddy, and he's going to care about the community. He's going to care about the bar, right? He's going to care about the owners of the bar because he knows them. He's going to care about the people outside. He's going to care about you. He's going to know it's a fight. He's going to know you did wrong, and he's going to arrest you. But he's at least going to arrest you in a way to where he knows and loves you and cares about your well being. But and that's what the one cop Matt Thornton always talks about. Him in my neighborhood. Uh, he's trying to break that cycle of the bad relationship between the police and the citizens and that's why he's such a good cop is because he grew up there. He literally grew up in the same neighborhood I grew up in. So me and him grew up in the same neighborhood, and that's why he used to get in trouble when he was a kid. So it makes it to where he knows the citizens, he knows the people he's busting, he loves them, he loves his community. So since he actually cares about it and he knows like a lot of them are troubled kids and things like that, he's gonna be a better officer to deal with. What's going on, Jem? Cops love manipulation and tracking people. They love to scare people one way or another with fake text. Yeah, for sure. Jared and Kara gotta watch The Wire. They will be like, yo, that's how it is for us. Yeah, I know you check it out. Hey Jared, Todd Carson's high school tennis dog. Did you show everyone in the chat your new Herman knife? I did. I also showed them in that video. Like I said, definitely go and check out Polish Custom Knives if you're wanting to get one. They have a bunch of different examples too. I almost got one with an inlay. It's tough, man. When you're picking one out and they're gonna give it to you, it's like I don't want to be greedy, but I also, I obviously want to get something nice, but I almost got the one with the inlay that looked really cool. And I was like, maybe not, I started thinking, should I just go all out and get the Timascus one? But then I was like, that's pretty greedy. So, but I'm very happy with it. These are such, you couldn't go, it didn't matter which one it was. That was what I basically in my head boiled down to. Like I could literally close my eyes and just pick one like that and I'd be just fine. Besides the knife you are fidgeting, what other fidget toy would you use if you were in public? I don't usually do anything else but knives, but now Bones has me doing fucking fidget toys. I got it in the other room right now, but he's got me playing with damn fidget toys. So I guess you could say that. The little clickers, the clickety clackities. That's probably what I'll do. But usually it's just a knife or my jewel. I have heard if you stop an officer and tell them you need a ride home, technically they're supposed to give you a ride. Part of the whole serve and protect. You'd think, but you know what I used to do? This is hilarious. I knew that if I was broke down on the side of the road, right? Like, or sorry, if I was on the side of the road and nothing was wrong, like, or sorry, I didn't show signs of anything wrong, the cops would stop. The cops would stop and fuck with me. But if I would just open up my hood and turn on the hazards, they'll drive right past you. So that's what I started doing, you know, and I knew like they're never going to stop because they're not going to want to help me. They're not going to want to actually help. But if they see me pulled over, my hazards aren't on, and they don't see me broke down or anything, they're gonna wonder like if something going on, like what's going on, what could I get them for? And then they're gonna start interrogating me and investigating. Nothing. So save them some trouble and just lift my hood and turn on my, even though nothing's wrong with the car, you know, for whatever reason why I'm pulled over or stopped or whatever. You talked about those Herman knives. Can you tell me the model you got? It's the Sting. If you go on their site, actually, no, I don't. It's the Sting. So they're all different numbers. So mine's the 339 or 393 or something, but there's different versions of the Sting. So that's what it is. The Herman Sting. Cops are like knives. Some are sharp and some are not. Some are good and some are not. It goes for everything, right? Definitely goes for everything. For sure. It's amazing how many cops don't even know the fundamental laws and limits of their authority, then get mad when you politely push back, or actually their limit and their authority and the rights. That's when they get upset because it's insulting to them. You know, they visit so many people and they violate their rights, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, they do, right? They ask them questions they don't need to ask them, and the people are respecting the cop and thinking they can trust this person, or maybe they don't think they can trust them, but they're intimidated, so they answer their questions even though they don't have to, and they sit there and talk to them and deal with all this bullshit. And if they run into somebody that doesn't work, right, and it's not often, and then they run into somebody who now knows their rights and knows that they shouldn't be asking them those questions, and they don't have to answer those questions, and they don't have to give them their ID, and they don't have to do this, and they don't have to do that, and they won't move, right? You're telling me step over here? No, I won't. You have no control over where I stand or where I walk. And they'll try doing that. That's the first part, what they try doing. Hey, can you back up over here? Can you move over here that way? Because if you start moving, right, you're listening to them. Now you're under their authority. Don't fucking do that shit. Just literally say no. Fuck no. No, I'm gonna stand right here. Right here. If I want to walk over there, I'll walk over there, but I don't want to. I'm right here. And there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. They can't force you to move. Unless if you're impeding on their investigation, there's nothing they can do. But it's weird, like the things that they'll try to get you to do sometimes, you know, just to like see if they can get you to do it. Jared, I saw a video the other day of a small car going airborne over the tracks. I seen that too. And it reminded me of your story about that. Brought me a smile on my face. Well, speaking of that, we actually did that. So what happened in the video he's talking about, I'm not sure if it's the exact same video, but there's this video that's online right now. And these guys have the camera set up because they know the car's going to come over the hill, but it comes over a hill and the other side is like a straight drop. So, and this is on the roads. So he comes, and I'm talking about fucking airborne, destroys the car, but he lands it and he rides it out. So good on him, right? We did that one time back in the day, and it was a railroad track though, so it was a hill out of nowhere, just like this, with a track on top. So this side, it's literally just like a jump, like it's set up to fuck something up. So we're flying. We hit it one time, right? Because you get some balls, right? What you do is you hit it softly the first time. You're like, whoop, and it's like, okay, and then you get a little harder, boom, and then the last one you get some balls, and that's when everything goes sideways. We hit this thing, and the car is a little shit box. A little, I don't even know what fucking be called. But you know those little Novas, those old little Novas? It was something like that. And I hit it, or we hit it, and when we hit, you fucked up as soon as you hit it. Like, what goes through your mind is you're just like, oh shit, this was not a good idea. And as you're up in the air and you continue to get air, then you start coming back down. You can feel the power of what's about to happen. And we hit and we bottomed out, obviously, right? Bottomed out, bam, and hit the whole bottom of the car, hit the ground, you know, because we hit so hard that like the suspension just, you know, dropped, and the whole car scraped the road and just tore shit all apart. Oils everywhere. We're fucked up. So then the cops come. Oh no, first we were trying to avoid the cops coming. I've told this story before. We were trying to avoid the cops coming because we didn't want to get arrested, because we didn't steal the car, but the car didn't have its right plates. It had different plates on it. So we had stolen plates, but stolen plates from another car that was the person's car, right? So just from different car. Anyways, so we didn't want to get busted. Anyways, we wound up the cops wound up pulling up after a long time. Like, we were waiting. There was a guy that was literally coming, because we wound up, like, the car wound up in a ditch, down in like a ditch. And I'm not going to say how that part happened, but regardless, it wound up down in the ditch, and a truck drove by and said he'd go get a rope and pull us out, right? And then we could call a tow truck or whatever, and he was going to help us. So we were just waiting for him to come back. The cops show up in between him coming back. They get out, they start running plates, doing their thing, you know, blame us for stealing the car, shit like that. Well, then in the end, what they wind up doing after everything is they towed the car. So the car's fucked now. And they tell us that they're going to give us a ride, right? And when they give us a ride, they actually give us a ride farther out of the way. We're far from our home. He knows where we need to go. We're out in the middle of fucking nowhere. I'm talking about nowhere. Like, you can't see nothing. Like, there's nothing for nothing, like, anywhere. No houses, no buildings, no light poles, no nothing. It's just out in the middle of nowhere. And so to get home on foot is like a half day walk, maybe a full day, probably a full, I don't know, long time. And he knows that. So he gets us in the car, and it is like acting like he's going to give us a ride closer. He gives us a ride farther away, and we're like, what's going on? And then he's like, well, I'm going to drop you guys off at this gas station. You guys can call for a ride. We didn't have 2 cents to rub, so we weren't calling nobody. I asked him to use his phone. No, you're not using my phone. So he wouldn't let me use his phone, dropped us off at a gas station for what? I don't know. So we just walked from there now. So now, instead of us walking from where we were at, and we've almost felt like we had to, like, kind of go with them. I was really young. Like, I was like 13, 14 at this time. But anyways, so makes us walk. So when he brings us to the gas station, we're even farther away. Now we start walking. We made it to the line of town probably 8 hours later. I don't know, 10 hours, something like that. Made it to our city line, and he pulls up. So we've been walking for 8 hours, something like that. I think he's getting off a shift now or something. I don't know. And he pulls up. And he's like, oh, you guys are still walking? Yeah, fuck. Yeah, we're still walking. He's like, get in, I'll give you a ride. Gets us in the car, gives us a ride about 2 blocks, a quarter mile, something like that, and then drops us off on the side of the road again. Like, what'd you even do that for? Like, why'd you even say you were going to give us? It's almost like he was fucking with us. He was teasing us. He was just messing with us. I don't know. But either way, he didn't bring us farther this time. So this time he actually brought us closer, but not much closer. Anyways, it was fun though. Before being licensed to carry openly, I'm well aware of any and all laws pertaining to that. and I literally have to explain the law and my rights to cops on 2 separate occasions. I live in Georgia, Piffle. Yeah, but that's why you need to make sure you know that, is you need to be able to educate them. And when you educate them with authority. And I say that because they actually believe you when you do that. When you educate them with authority, they fucking take you seriously because they know you're saying it. It's just like dog training or anything else, right? Or when you're teaching a kid. When you say things in a way that's questionable, then it's under question. But if you say things with authority, then they know you know what you're talking about. So now they're going to take you more seriously and they're going to listen. And it's your right to talk to them however you want to. I'm not saying it's a good idea in some cases to talk shit to them, but you have the right to say whatever you want to them. So like that bullshit, like you can't flip off a cop, you can't say this to a cop, you can't. That's all bullshit. It's all under the First Amendment. You can say whatever you want. But Jared, I bought a Curie whetstone kit. Is it worth it? They haven't arrived yet. Hopefully the cops don't take that away too. It's good for chef knives. You know, same thing like I said in my video. It's for chef knives. So I wouldn't use it on folding knives. I definitely would not use them on folding knives. Use diamonds for that. But as far as those go, they're the best stones you're gonna get. Well, I'm not saying those specific ones, but Japanese water stones are the best you're going to use for sharpening chef knives. And you can sharpen a folding knife on them. You can, but it's not going to be the fastest and best results. You get good results, though, at least mediocre, depending on the steel. Like if it's a mid-grade and below steel, like if it's 154 cm and lower, you can do them on those stones, but diamond's edges always come out better. Damn. Malcolm says, I drove a car off a loading dock once. The best part, I did it in reverse. It was a Toyota Tercel wagon. There was a bunch of guys standing around, and the look on their face was great. That's hilarious. Oh, yeah. In the words of Super Slow Steve, keep trying. We will wait. They thought I robbed somebody and almost clipped me on foot. I was literally just walking home. Well, the thing is that's why they can't, because if they have the right to tell you how your emotion is, then they will. And that's where the slippery slope comes in and why they can't. And as it should be. Not cop bashing. Did somebody say that? Not cop bashing, really. Everyone has their own experience, just sharing funny stories. Yeah, it's just funny stories. Who says we were bashing cops? I'm not trying to bash cops. I'm trying to help the people. Remember, they work for the people. Your taxes pay them, right? They work for you. So I'm saying that's how that's what it was supposed to be, and that's how it should be, and that's how it needs to be, not what it's turning into. What it's turning into is literally a hatred of the police and the people. We gotta stop that. We can't have that. We need the people and the police working together in a way that is healthy, because what we have right now is unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. There should be no reason why a 10-year-old is scared of the cops when he sees them. There should be no reason why a 10-year-old will watch somebody get robbed and not call the cops, thinking it'll just make things worse. Or hear a shooting or see a shooting and nobody called the cops. Nobody's calling the cops. Because everybody knows all they're going to do is they're going to come here and they'll start busting other people for other things, and nothing will even happen with what happened over there. Because, and that's what I mean. Like, if they actually have a love for the community, then I think it's it's a bigger possibility. If they're from that community, they know the people in that community, it's their people, and that's what I get from that one dude, Matt Thornton. I talk about him a bunch because, he's a detective in the area that I grew up in. And, he talks about that all the time, and that's why he does what he does. And that's why he calls out the cops. He calls out, and it's when I see video after video after video after video after video after video after video of cops violating people's rights, it's sickening. It's sickening to watch them do it. Knowing that the people just don't know. They don't know any better. Or it's great when the people do know, and then it's even worse when you see the cops still doing it, even though the person knows his rights. Like, yeah, we got to stop this authoritarianism, if that's a word, of them. You know, they don't have as much power. They're supposed to be protecting and serving. You know, if they get a call and the call is legit, then that's what they're supposed to do. That's what they're supposed to investigate. They're not supposed to just like go and drive around and look for things to fuck with you about. And that's, yeah. But I'm not trying to talk shit about cops or bash cops. Like I said, there are a lot of great cops, but I think it takes good cops to hold other cops accountable. If you have one good cop surrounded by a bunch of bad cops, if you have one good cop and four bad cops, it's not one good cop and four bad cops. It's five bad cops. Because you have one cop that's not holding these cops accountable or say anything about them, so he's just as guilty, right? If he knows what they're doing. Like, I've literally watched people, you know, get things put in their car, you know, like to just bust them and shit because the cops didn't have anything to get them for. So now they have to make something up because what they've already done is so bad that they have to have a reason why it was so bad and so egregious. So now they have to pin the guy on something, you know, so that they don't look bad. And when you've seen that over and over, it's just, you know, your trust of them goes out the window. I love it. Only the Knife YouTuber talks about in real life issues. Don't be afraid to talk about your opinion. Oh, dude. Yeah, and I agree. I actually can't tell you how much I agree with that, because I think right now we have too many people afraid to say what they really think. I think that's one of the most detrimental things of society right now, is the fear of people saying what they actually think, whether it's politics, whether it's religion, whether it's just normal shit, whether it's police, whether it's all these little topics, these little tiny topics that have somehow become polarizing. And some things weren't even political 10 years ago, and now all of a sudden they are. They were just common fucking sense. But now all of a sudden, like, everything's becoming, and it's by design, guys. It's by design, and it's done on purpose in order to separate us and divide us and turn us into little groups, turn us into little tribes. If we're 1,000 little tribes, then we're all fighting each other. But if we're one tribe, then we're united. And remember, united we stand, divided we fall. So it's by design. Trust me, it's by design. Trying to take us out from the inside in, and that's why I'm not going to do that. There ain't nothing I'm not willing to talk about. I'll say my opinion on anything. You don't have to agree with me, and that's what I say. Like, if I have a separating opinion from you, that's okay. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be America's way, right? We can still be friends. We can still hang out. We can still go drink, go party, go, you know, dinner, whatever. I guess I can still be friends with you. Like, I never knew a time when I agreed with everything and everything with everyone. Like, it's not supposed to be that way. We're supposed to not agree. That's what's supposed to unite us, is the fact that we can disagree. Remember, you're not supposed to protect the speech that you agree with. You're supposed to protect the speech you disagree with. That's the biggest thing. That's supposed to be freedom of speech. Not protecting what you agree with, protecting what you don't agree with. I'm only 12, and I've always been scared of cops, but not no more. Yeah, I mean, if I would say just be knowledgeable. You know, don't be afraid, just be knowledgeable. Just know your rights. That's it. At 12 years old, start learning them now, because pretty soon you're going to be running into them. I'm atheist. I have no filter, and I have 0 fucks left to give. Sometimes cops get their job to fuck with moms, which is sick. All it takes for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Very well said. Well said. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times that something is just opening your mouth. Opening your mouth, because you can make things seem a lot different when people are not saying what they think. But if you did, then you'd realize 5 people around you think the same thing and are just not saying anything. But then when you do, now they will. Now you have 5 people all basically agreeing on the same thing, but before they weren't willing to say it. And since they are saying it, now you have 10 other people seeing it and hearing it and saying, oh, okay, well, I agree with that. And you can really see how much you actually do agree with. And, a lot of times we have to be able to bond with what we do agree with, not what we disagree with. Is this transgender debate a designed problem that was meant to divide the people? I think so. I do. I think it's a bunch of things. So I think one thing is our testosterone's been lowering since the 1950s, since plastics was introduced to us, and our food and public health safety shit is really bad in the USA. So like we have plastics in like everything. You go to a lot of other countries, you'll notice there's a lot of like carcinogens and shit like that. I can't say the word. Carcinogens in foods and things like that they're not allowed in other countries, but we allow them here. But supposedly the plastics, like they've done a bunch of studies on this, and the studies have shown that plastics are affecting the men's testosterone massively. So every year men's testosterone goes down by 1 point. So if you were born 10 years ago, your testosterone is going to be 10 points higher than somebody born today. And so knowing that it's going on a decline, there's obviously going to be a lot of hormonal issues. So I think that I think there's things taking advantage of those things. And I think there is some things that are an underlined issue. And then there's capitalizing on it and trying to make it a bigger thing to make money off of it. Anytime, it's kind of like, that whole thing with never let a good disaster go to waste, because a good disaster means you can make a lot of money. That has been taken to the extreme in 2023. Every fucking thing is just a way for somebody somewhere to get rich, and they'll use those things. Do you think capitalism is the answer? I absolutely think it is. Or is personally it's ran its course from here on out, is just getting worse squeezing? No, I think capitalism is the way. I think what we've messed up with is allowing the politicians to do basically insider trading. That's not capitalism. Capitalism doesn't mean the government has the ability to basically do insider trading and manipulate the things. We're supposed to have the control. The people are. The people are supposed to have the control of the big businesses. Right now, the government's starting to run all the big corporations, right? It's like, think about all like the biggest corporations and biggest things. Like, that's supposed to be ran by the people. The government should do their thing, right? What do? They should be doing postal service, the police, things like that, right? Maybe medical. I mean, I guess you could say they could do. That's debatable, but that's debatable. But I wouldn't say maybe the pharmaceutical company maybe shouldn't be. That shouldn't be them. That should be individual companies, right? Like, and that's what I mean. Like, all these things should be individual companies. That way there's competition. And that's what builds bigger business, is competition, right? Like, if there's only one big corporation, everybody falls underneath it. Well, now nobody else can make money off of that thing. Nobody else can get big off of that thing. But if everybody else can play the same ball that they play, well, now we all have the same ability to grow, expand, and become, rich in that area. But capitalism is the only way we've ever seen, prosperity, like the way growth. Like, I don't think there's been any other country that's gotten rich from poor to rich aside from capitalism. It's the only way, because, as long as the people have the ability to work hard and be able to grow and create and compete, because they're like, if you have a product, right? Like say you make a knife, let's say knives, right? You make a knife, I make a better knife, right? That gives my knife a better chance to win. And now you better your product because now mine's taking over, right? And then what do? I better mine, and you better yours. And it just makes better products. It makes society better, it makes things better, it makes things run better, more efficient, because they're going to provide that. At least that's the way I look at it. How you like an S45? I like S45. S45 is a good steel. S45 is a good steel. Right. Nobody can. Nobody can. I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend it with my life. Your right to say it. Yes, absolutely. Politicians tend to serve their donors. I'm a capitalist, but I think elections should be publicly funded. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I'd have to look more into it, but yeah, I'd probably tend to agree with you. I think a lot of those things should be publicly funded. I think a lot of those things should be publicly ran, publicly, everything. It should be the people. Obviously, there has to be some sort of protection against it, and I think that might be where they come in to help keep it fair. But the people could do that too. Like, to me, I want the government in my life as little as possible, like the least amount of things possible, and I want the least amount of taxes taken out from me. Like, look at what they've done. Like, look at how much we're in debt, right? If that was us, like, and it was the opposite way, like, we would there'd be no excuse. You'd be in prison or something like that. But since they're the government, they're able to just, it's like, why do we keep upping taxes? And they just keep getting deeper and hole. Do you think that that's the solution? I would say no. I would say less taxes. Let's start cutting their funding and things like that. Start lowering their, like, and if you look at some of these guys, man, like some of these politicians, man, they have hundreds of millions of dollars, and they only make $140,000, $200,000 a year. Like, how do you think they do that? Come on. So it's like, it's crazy when it's fucking crazy. And some of the people, like, that are poor, that are real struggles. And I've been there. Like, I've been struggling, no heat, no electricity, no food, no water. I've been there, like, real fucking struggle, like wondering if you're gonna make it, struggling. And when you've really struggled like that, what real poor is, right? Real poor, you get in food lines. You might have to use government services, those types of things. Yeah, you realize how horrible it is. And then you see some other people that are, which, listen, if you got rich off of being a hard worker and owning a business, selling a product, I fucking love it. I applaud you. Like, I want people to get rich. I definitely do, but I don't want it to be our government officials. I just don't think they should be the ones that should be able to get rich. I think them having the ability to get rich hurts us, because then they look for opportunities and ways to get rich off of us. Like wars. Wars. The things they should be using it for is everything to do with our country. That's it. Just the things that are with our country. I'm not saying don't help other countries here and there, but you should not have as much homeless and as much poverty and everything we're going through right now, and also helping other countries right now. Right now, like, there's a way, like right now, if your house was on fire, right, you wouldn't go to the neighbor's house and start saving the neighbor's house unless if your thing is burnt to a crisp, right? You're going to save your house first. So there's no reason to be going out. And I'm not, listen, my heart goes out to any other country. Trust me, man. But I just think there's a thin line of what you can do. And when you start opening up these possibilities, you're opening it up to them having the ability to be really crooked and do crooked shit. You know what I mean? Then they start forging and start making the things up. And we all know, like we all know, like what happened with you know, the shit over in the Middle East, you know, like that was all bullshit. You know, we know that now. Like it's like I'm not gonna get into all that stuff. That's just a whole nother can of worms. Roads, maybe military, water supply, electrical grid, to name a few. Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. Inside our country, like not other countries, inside our country. Yeah, the post office, police, the roads, possibly. You know, I don't know. It's debatable with the hospital, but you know, definitely like you said, like water supply, electrical grid, things like that. That's what it should be. It's supposed to be making our life easier, not worse. It's fucking right they do. Fucking right they do. And what are they using? The solution is to pay for what? But what they're actually using it for? They're using it for overseas bidding and fucking war and uh all kinds of bullshit. Like I one time seen this thing where it was showing all the government funding programs. Like some of them were like so crazy. Like it was like there's like these little companies that all get these government funded things, right? So there's little companies and they get funding from the government. They have to request it, right? They have to request, we want $5 million to do this. And then the government says whether or not they'll do it. And like when you looked at half of them, they were ridiculous. And you knew like they had to be a scam. Like this has to be bullshit. This has to be bullshit. Like it's like for 5 years, we've been trying to see if northern frogs have a different dialect than southern frogs. And we haven't been able to figure out in 5 years. So can you give us another $5 million for the next 5 years? You know, like things like that. Like what? Like maybe I could see like if you're overwhelmed and just pouring out with money and everything is going great, then those things are awesome. But at certain times, like those aren't that isn't the important things, you know, or finding out like what happens to frog's skin if they snort cocaine for a month. You know, just weird shit. Um the way to enable that trillion. Huh. Privatized roads are on the rise. You won't get to work on time. You better pony up that money. It's not hard to begin to fix this. Just sounds like you're making sense. Is moderate. Yeah, it's just the biggest thing is just the polarization of all the people and them, us. Sorry, not even them. Us allowing them to divide us. That's the biggest thing. That's the worst thing. That's what's going to hurt us the most. We can't if we can't learn to get along and figure out what unites us, we're fucked. Like, and we got to think about it. Like, do we? Because either one, we're gonna wind up having something bad, right? Or two, we can fix it. It's one of the two. That's only two options. Either one, we're gonna figure it out and fix it, or two, we're gonna like have a separation or something like that. So, you know, I'd prefer us to unite. And if we unite and all the people realize like it's not us against us, it's us against them. That's what it is. There's the government and then the people, right? It's not all these different tribes of people and then the government, but that's the way they want us to see it. They want us to see it as right versus left, you versus me, him versus them, black versus white, this versus that, cops versus this. Like they want us to look at it like that, but it's not. We're all citizens, so we have to understand that, you know. But we have to be able to unite, and like some things, some people's beliefs are very polarizing. To me, that's okay because that's what should unite us. It should unite us that's okay. There are some things like, you know, when it starts coming to children and things like that, it starts getting out of line. But as far as adults go, you know, do whatever you want. You know, that's the way I look at it. Do whatever the fuck you want. I'll do whatever I want. And we can unite on the ability to have freedom. the freedom for you to do what you want and the freedom for me to do what I want. You say what you want, I say what I want. We can go have coffee later and disagree right now. Doesn't matter, because that's what should unite us, is our freedoms. That's what I think. Yeah, turn off propaganda organs and look to those that business model it. Here is observable reality. Now go cope. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the problems too, is we think, because we see the propaganda machine, and man, they're good. They are really good. Like when you really know, like, that everything's propaganda, everything's made up, everything's fake, everything's bullshit. Even the things that are true are not entirely true. Like, there's always some manipulation to it. When you realize, like, you know, how much bullshit is there and how much money there is to make on polarizing things and propaganda, and it gets crazy. It's kind of like this, just for an example. The Titanicus went down, right, to the Titanic, and collapsed, right, imploded. It imploded, and they knew it. They knew it imploded. And then what they did was they went on this goose hunt, acting like they were hearing knocking down there. They were hearing knocking. And they had, for like 2 days, a countdown of their oxygen levels, of how long they had until they ran out of oxygen, making people think that they were down there at the bottom of the ocean, sitting in this container, starving to death, running out of oxygen, when they knew the entire time they fucking died, because it imploded, and the military's radar heard the implosion at the exact time that the ship lost coordination with them. So as soon as they lost contact, coordination, all that bullshit, was the exact same time when the military heard the implosion. So they knew the whole time that they were gone, that they were fucked. What was it, Steven Spielberg, or the one guy who winds up going down there all the time, I forget who the hell he is. Whoever that guy is said he knew the whole time. He said he got a phone call. Like the day of, right when it happened, saying that this and this happened and all this, but they didn't release the information. So all of us sat there and watched this whole timeline thing and all this bullshit. And all it was a way for all these companies, like the news organizations and all these little companies, to make money. That's all it was. It was a way to sit there and keep you looking. You're looking and you're listening and watching, and they have your eyes, you have your attention, and they make money off of your attention. Then they make money off of you chatting and, tweeting about it and all these things. And then they also, there's so many different machines doing it that they're competing with each other at the same time while they're doing it. So it's like they're in collusion and competing at the same time. But it's crazy, man. It's nuts. But that's just an example. That's just a small example. Yeah. You could say the same thing about just not sending more. They're fucking printing it anyway. So, but that's why we have inflation, right? They have inflation because we've printed so much money. That's the only way we have inflation. The only way inflation happens is from mismanagement of the government. That's it. It's the only way to have inflation. Mismanagement of our money from the government. Junkie sub. I feel bad for the guy's kid. The kid didn't. I know. I read that too, John. Yeah, he didn't want to go. He was actually afraid to go, and he did it for his dad. What I thought was sad was the fact that they knew it was happening. Like, they tried to spread the message that, it happened rapidly, right? It happened in a split second. That's not what really happened. They had alarms going off. They dropped weight. They started descending towards the surface, but they were descending so slow. Something was stopping them from descending faster. They should have been descending a lot faster, at least to my knowledge. This is the story I heard. But like I said, there's a lot of propaganda out there. Anyway, so they dropped weight, they started going up, and they had the alarms going off, and they were messaging back and forth saying the alarms are going off. We're trying to figure out what's going on. We're trying to diagnose it. They were messaging back saying this and that, you know, they were checking everything. And then all of a sudden lines got cut. No more communication. They're not talking back and forth no more. And they don't have them, like they can't, like, you know, track them or whatever. So that was probably pretty scary for, you know, the 2 minutes it happened, or however long it was. I think it was 2 minutes. You wonder, like, did water start coming in? I don't think so. I'm sure it rapidly happened once it happened, like, you know, but you know that for 2 minutes they knew something bad was happening. They had the alarms going off. They probably heard cracking because it's carbon fiber. Yeah. I feel like I could have designed a better piece of shit they tried to set down. What's crazy is how many times it's already been down there. That's the crazy part. They were saying that the one last time they went down in it, that the guy said it was normal to hear cracking, you know, like you can hear the pressure around the thing. And I can understand maybe to some extent a little bit, right? But they made it seem like that that what was probably happening though is that what the layers of carbon fiber were probably becoming compromised, and then the last time they went down, the carbon fiber was already compromised. So now it's, you know, granted it made it back the last time, it ain't making it back this time. Yeah, we're about to take off, Breeze. What's going on, brother? Working hard. Are the aliens real or distraction? Ah, man, that one's tough. That one's tough. I don't know, man. I feel like they're real, but I feel like they're fake. Like, I'm sure to some extent there's some real, but what I don't trust is the government telling us about it. Because I feel like that it's just a way for them. Like, again, like, remember I was saying earlier, they had our attention. Well, usually when they have our attention, something else is happening, right? Anytime you see them trying to get our attention towards, anytime something is happening in media, look at the opposite, because something else is happening, right? It's almost like they're just letting us see this so that we don't look over here. So I kind of feel like there's some of that happening where it's like, oh, well, don't pay attention to this. There's aliens. Check that out. You fucking puppets. Oh, man. Do not go. The tinfoil hat brigade is coming on strong. Oh, man. What's funny is how much the tinfoil hat brigade has been right. That's what's crazy. Jared was about to tell us the truth about aliens. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like that there was a reason why these guys worked at Area 51 and supposedly worked on these because like the one guy talks about how he worked on the alien crafts, but he was deconstructing it. So they were trying to figure out how it worked. Why would you need scientists to figure out how something works, right? Because you don't know, right? So that kind of, you know, maybe it came from another country, though. You know, that could be a possibility, right? It's another country's science. But supposedly this science is something that was, you know, light years away from our time. So they you know, figuring it out was not, I don't know, right? But supposedly there's those things. So if they've gotten those things, then you got to imagine they've probably gotten some of the beings that were on there. Well, were they just like what are those things called when you have something? Oh man, it's like your skin, or like it's supposed to be you, but it's not really you. I can't think of what it's called. But anyways, they're probably like clones, basically, like cloned things that are made to be able to go light years away and through all these things and not have to deal with certain emotions and things. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's actually just real live aliens. I don't fucking know. I would just imagine, like, if we, like, right now we're sending something to Mars, right? Supposedly. Well, if we're sending something to Mars, we don't have a human on there, right? We don't have a human on there. We have robots on there. So it's just robotic. So I have to imagine that that's how they would probably do it, right? I mean, wouldn't that make more sense? You know, even if you could bend time and you know, and go a million light years away in a blink of an eye, even if you can do that to some extent, you know, a robot would probably be the better way to go just in case if anything happens. I don't know though. You know, maybe it's so safe for them now that they can do it because they're so far ahead of our time. That one's tough. That one's tough. But I do think, again, like I said before, this is what I do think. Regardless if they're real or fake, they're taking advantage of the fact that we don't know. They definitely want our attention for it. You know, it's kind of like the submarine thing I just said. You know, they knew what happened, but they still played this whole thing, you know, in pretend just to keep our attention. Is it worth upgrading the scales and hardware on the lightweight Manix 2? Kind of looks like a pain in the ass. No, well, the new ones supposedly, this is what I'll say. The new ones supposedly have screws now. They don't have pin construction. So I would say the OG scales, yes, the OG scales would be really good because the OG scales are that you don't need liners, right? So you would take the liners aren't going to go in there. So I mean, you'll have the liner lock, but what I'm saying is like that there's no backspace. That's what I meant. Backspacers. There's no backspacers or anything like that. So it's a clamshell construction. So I'm pretty sure, not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that theirs will fit the lightweight ones and the G10 ones. So double check me on that. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure the OG scales for the Manix will do both. Otherwise, you know, I mean, I always think upgrading scales and hardware is always a good idea, but it's not a must. I would say this: my aluminum scales on my Manix now, it's like a lightweight. So because the aluminum scales are so damn light. Come to find out, this group and more than we all know are the same thought. We are free Americans and have the morals and common sense to keep the politicians that believe in the same way. Common sense to keep the politicians that believe in the same way. Yeah, I think we mostly agree on more than we disagree with, but we're all gonna have some disagreements, right? Of course. Like that's just normal. I would hate a world where I agreed with everything everybody else said always. That'd be stupid. So I don't mind disagreeing with anybody. And to be honest, there's some people I just am glad I don't agree with. You know what I mean? Like when I see some people out there, you know, I look, it's like I don't want to agree with you. So I don't care that you disagree with me. Good. It's a really good thing that I disagree with you. Hey, Jared, is the Civic Sentinel strike worth getting? Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. I'm surprised you haven't gotten it yet. So, yes, get it. Use my link when you do, though, for sure. But yeah, that's one that's probably going to be in that price range, the number one knife of the year in that price range. Probably. If not, it's going to be in the running. Like it'll be in the top 3, you know. Because like doing the top 5 in that price range is tough, right? There's only so many knives, but it's definitely in the running for the best, if not the best. Yes, I do. Absolutely, I do. That's the only one I haven't changed scales on. Oh man, I'm sure that they're using what was what was in Terminator? What was that guy made out of? The Terminator 2. Oh man, he was made out. I can't remember what he was made out of. Remember, like the metal molded to whatever he wanted. You know, it had like memory and stuff, and I can't remember. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. I definitely appreciate it. Always try to use the links when you can. And if you guys don't know, my Neevesknives store is just an Amazon affiliate. So you guys ever buy anything from Amazon, use my store. Use the Neevesknives store. You can look up whatever you want from in there. That's not what it was, though, was it? Was that? That's not what it was. Pimp my saucer. T1000, the T1000. Liquid metal. Yeah, it was liquid metal, but it was, I thought they called it something. What leather? Oh, shit. What leather is the best for some strips? My bud wants. What? What leather is the best for some strips? My bud wants. Fuck politicians. I'm not sure. You are you trying to do recurves? Are you trying to cut leather into strips for recurves, or are you talking about making strips to make multiple different versions? If that's the case, it just depends on the emulsion or the stuff you're going to use. So if you're going to use liquid like gunny juice, like diamond liquid or something like that, then you want the firm side leather. You want the skin side, firm side, not the suede side, not the furry side. But if you're going to use like the crayon stuff that you scrape it on there, get the furry stuff. But there's a lot of leather out there you can get. You can get beaver craft. You can technically just go buy a whole sheet of cow's leather and make your own if you wanted to. I'll tell you what, that one leather I bought for like $70, I bought that big ass strip. I still have a bunch. I could have made 100 straps out of that, and that was $70. So, and it's really good leather too. That's so true, dog. It is so true. Yes, it is. But they will definitely, they're masters at using fear mongering. But I think a lot of us are waking up to it. I really do. I think a lot of us are waking up to it and aren't believing the bullshit anymore, because now we have the ability to communicate like this. We have the ability to learn information while it's happening. We can record things, so it's a lot more difficult. I'm not saying they don't still do it, because they damn sure still do it, even more now than ever before. So they also have it easy because they can give us the information that we know. So that makes it to where, we don't trust them. So since we don't trust, and I think that's good. I don't think we should. I think we should question everything. As long as we're questioning everything's like legitimacy, then we'll be open-minded, and then we'll look at the facts and see what the facts tell us, rather than just believe whatever the fuck you see or hear. I'm here to party, Brian says. Bree says the party's on Sundays, Brian. Join the membership. Hey Google, what was the T1000 made? But the T1000 was what Arnold Schwarzenegger was. What was, I thought, was he? I thought it was the other guy. No, I thought the T1000 was what Arnold Schwarzenegger was. The other guy, was he the T1000? I thought it was the opposite. Maybe I'm wrong though. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've seen it. That's why I love the channel. Tons of knowing. I learn from Jay all the time. I appreciate that. It's a big, yeah, the T1000's a big ass. Or yeah, that's true, man. I got to try that at Blade Show for a moment. That thing is a beast. It is a beast for sure. I'd love to test it. I would love to set something up like in a shop with all the tools where we could test the spine strength or the lock strength of some of these knives, but the ones that are crazy, like not the ones that are only going to hold 100 pounds, but the ones that are going to hold like 1,000 pounds, and see how far they will go. That would be awesome. Hey Jared, is Gunny Juice worth its insane price? I think so. It does last a long time. So yes, it's diamond. And the difference between aluminum oxide compounds and diamond compounds is that the diamonds, they don't wear out as fast. So aluminum oxide breaks down and wears out really fast. So you got to keep reapplying it. Diamonds, you got to reapply it, but you can do it in a very thin layer. That very thin layer is going to last you quite a bit of stropping, and then you can reapply it. Reapply it as when necessary. Oh, T1000 is the liquid, dude? Okay. I stand corrected, King Snake. I stand corrected. I should have some linked down in the description if you want to get some. But yeah, I definitely, that's what I recommend. That's what I use. So, you know, I'm obviously going to tell you what I recommend. The other stuff that I really like just as much is stroppy stuff. Hopefully, I'll have a link very soon for it too, by the way, because check this out. I got a hapstone. So I got a hapstone, all their stones, they're CBN stones. So I'm going to test out the CBN stones and test out the hapstone sharpener and see how it does. This is their new one, supposedly. I think. I'm not sure, though. It looks dope as fuck, though. I'll tell you that much. Because look, it looks like you could clamp right here, or you could clamp all the way across, or you could clamp just a half. Like, that's dope. So this might just be the baddest system out yet so far. I'm about to find out. I just got it today, so. Explains that the T1000 is a more advanced terminator composed entirely of a mimetic polyalloy, rendering it capable of rapid shape shifting, near perfect mimicry, and recovery from damage. Damn, you fucking wrote that perfectly, didn't you? Did you copy and paste that shit? Well said. Hermans are dropping tomorrow on DLT. I don't want to hear another damn thing about DLT. Go to Polish Custom Knives. Why would you mess with DLT? They're right now. What do you need them to drop for? They're already at Polish Custom Knives. You don't have to wait for them to drop. They're already there, Jeffrey. Polish Custom Knives has the Hermans there already. All different kinds, all different prices. And that company deals with all the Polish knife makers. You can go on their site and see they have tons of Polish knife makers on it. Man, this thing is so good. Look at that break. Listen to that thing. Just listen to this. Such a good sound. Mike Emlyn movie night Terminator 2. There you go. I tried looking for stroppy stuff. It's not. No, it's not there. That's the problem, is that they're from another country. But as far as I know, Hapstone has some on their site. So that I got an affiliate link with them that I'll have probably tomorrow. So I'll be able to link it. But they're similar in the way they work. The strop stuff is more liquidy, while Gunny Juice is still liquidy, but it's not as thick. But as far as the capabilities of it, they're very similar. The one thing I like about the stroppy stuff is they have color coordinated stuff. So you know what grid it is by the color. I told Gunny Juice he should do something similar. Jared, do you have a Spyderco K2 on your playlist? No, I do not. I'm sorry. I've never even tried. No, I tried the K2 for just a moment. I believe it was Justin who has one from OCD for EDC. Bama Knife Guy used to have one too. How much is the Hapstone? Let's find out. Come on. So This is the system I think I have right here. This new one. Where'd it go? Is it this one? The R, is it the R2? Yeah, wait, no, the RS. I have the RS. It looks like the R2 though. Here's the RS. Okay, 279. Not bad. Fuck yeah. They said something about it being their most affordable system, or one of. So they do have the RS right here, which is only $200. But I'll tell you what, man, I do think it might be better to go with the $80 more for this one because of the clamping system. I'm guessing you can take, let me show you guys something really quick though. I'm guessing you can take this clamp, take that clamp and flip those. I guarantee you can flip them so they're closer together or farther away. I bet that's the way they work. So you can do them either direction, which will make it to where you can clamp closer together or farther away. But when you look at this one, though, this one, you have there's so many options with that clamping system. Look at that. Holy cow. You can do any size knife. And you could always take one of these arms off if it got in the way and just use the 3 or just use the 2. That is dope. That is so dope. You know, somebody kept telling me about the half-stone sharpeners being better than TS Prof. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't tested it, so I'm not even trying to claim that yet. I could start using this and think this thing is absolute crap. But there's a possibility that they're right. There's definitely possible that these guys or whoever said that was right. Oh, you want to see stroppy stuff. So I did see it on their site earlier. Home, I think it was. Oh, look, and see, look, they have the workshop. They have a bunch of stuff on here. Is that Neevesknives? Or is it? No, it's their CBN. So I have a bunch of their CBN stones. So it's I'm getting to test those out too. All right, where is it? I know I've seen it on here. Accessories. Oh, strapping. Here we go. Strappy stuff. It's expensive, but you know, it's a big bottle. And you can see they're all color coordinated. Oh, here. You can see right here. So each color is a different abrasive, which is really cool. So it makes it to where you can set your strap up and you'll know exactly what's on there, you know. So like with the gunny juice, you can mix them up by accident very easily. Like if you have 5 straps, one's a 1 micron, you have to write it on the wood. Yeah. I think it's played all over, and I think everybody's heard that song by now. It's got like over 30 million views in like 3 days. No, it's a good song. It's a really good song. It's a deep song. If you guys haven't heard it, definitely go and take a listen to it. It is a phenomenal song. Yeah, I'm hoping to get more stuff like that on the channel. It was very exciting for me too. And I like getting excited like that. I like, you know, that's what keeps us going, right? That's what keeps this machine rolling is the excitement. Jared all hot and bothered on some sharpening tools. Drain the rich. I've been fed this for a political point of some sort. Yeah, but you mean drain or brain? Yeah, I think that's all bullshit though. I think that's all bullshit. I think what we want to focus on is getting people rich. Rich should be what people strive for, not what people hate. Remember, it's the rich that run this damn country. Like they're the ones where we get the jobs from. Literally everything you do every day comes from billion-dollar companies, right? So it's like those are all the people employing people. Those are all the companies getting us all these things and all these parts and keeping this machine rolling. It's because we have that, right? The reason why our country is the best country on the planet, the reason why everybody's fighting and dying to get here is because of that. It's because everybody's not poor. It's because people have the ability to become rich. So I just, you know, Is there any knife you absolutely hate? Yes. One you'd move from existence if you could. Probably, well, one is M-Tech for sure. M-Tech, they'd disappear tomorrow if it was on me. But I also understand that M-Techs do get people into knives to some extent. But they steal designs, they lie about their steals, they heat treat them like shit. I'm sure there's some decent ones out there, maybe. Gerber's another one I'm not a big fan of, but I wouldn't erase them. I would not erase them because I know a lot of people got into the community because of them. And I know a lot of you are really pissed right now because you guys get mad when I talk shit about your sweet old Gerber. But yeah, probably just some of them off-brand weird Chinese companies like M-Tech. Good night. Thanks for always answering my questions. Feels good to know I can reach and talk to a content creator. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Much love. Much love to you too, Doctor. Thank you for joining. What are you talking about? I did not even caps lock. Oh shit, I did. Okay. Hey, listen, I've been really good in the regular videos, though, you have to admit. Right? You have to admit I've been really good in the regular videos. If you guys don't know, Dino leaves me a comment every single video. You know what, though? I realize you don't leave me a comment unless if I put caps lock on. So it kind of makes me want to just leave caps lock on because you don't comment otherwise. But when I leave the caps lock on, and I'm talking about the names of the videos, and the names of the videos, my titles, every time I caps lock the entire title, he leaves me a very nice comment that's exactly what he just wrote here, but in English. He knows I know what he's saying, even though I can't read Spanish, because I've seen this message a million times. So thank you, Dino. You can make 90K in USA with no schooling if you try hard. Yeah, absolutely. I would say you can, with a lot of hard work. No, you don't have to have school. Go to a trade school. You can go learn a trade, but if you just find a business or a company that's doing something, let's say it's power washing, right? Or start watching some YouTube videos, start learning, start power washing, get a power washer. You can literally create an entire power washing business, and it could do very, very well. Start buying more power washers, start getting a team, start having multiple different guys out there. Now you're paying them. So now you went from one guy, just you and the power washer, to two power washers and two guys. Now 3 to 4 to 5. Now you can have two different teams. Like there's so much, and that's just power washing. And then if you're smart, you get GoPros and you fucking record the shit, break it up into clips, post it on YouTube, and make money off of doing that too. I seen this guy that does lawns. I guarantee. Listen, I know how much he's making because I can see off of his views. This fucking guy is making millions of dollars mowing people's lawns for free. He just goes and mows people's lawns for free, and then posts the videos. He breaks it up into clips, and then he has a full-length video, and basically people go and watch it to just watch the transformation. He does it like in speed, so you don't have to watch every single step, but it's crazy how much money this guy's making. And he literally just goes to people's houses. He never takes money because there's no reason to. If you're making $50,000 a video, 20, 30,000, let's say $20,000 a video, $20,000 a video, why would you charge the people that you're mowing the lawn from, $200 or $50 or something? You wouldn't. So he just goes there and just does it for free, and he's making a killing. Jared, props for sharing your story, and a big hell yeah on the change you made. It's not easy, I know. Cheers. Thank you, King Snake. I appreciate it, brother. This is my full-time job. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It has been for well over a year now. Probably a year and a half now. But no, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Hey Jared, what micron stroppy stuff should I buy? 3 bottles. Get a 1, a 3, and see, it depends. Like if you want something for polished edges, right? So 1 micron or lower, right? 1 micron or lower, get that. Then get something that's like a 6, and then get something that's higher, like a 12. The 12 will be for like medium grit edges, 600 grit to 1,000 grit edges. The 6 micron will be for the middle ground, and then you can have the 1 micron or lower for polished edges. Now, if your goal is to polish an edge with stroppy stuff, then you're going to want them closer together, or you're going to want more. Like, say if you come off of a 1200 grit stone, if you have a let's see, a 12, a 9, a 6, a 3, and a 1, you can polish an edge. But that's a lot of fucking money. You might as well just buy one stone and just finish off with a polishing stone and then strop. That's what I would say to do. So if you're only going to have 3, get a 12 or a 9, one of the two, 12 or a 9, a 6, and a 1. That's what I would do. I'd take that. I would take a homeless kid living on a roof, put him under wing, started with a bucket and squeegee, wash windows, now master plumber. Yeah. Hey, man. I've worked every single job anybody could ever imagine when it comes to construction and just labor. I've done everything, like literally fucking everything. When you do construction, man, you like there's no telling what you're going to do that day or what you're going to get involved in, especially when you have so many different people that do different things, so many different knowledgeable people, so you wind up getting tied up in so much. I've done everything. Brian Jones is a new member, man. Hey, shout out to Brian. Thank you, man. I appreciate you joining. Appreciate that. Plumbers make bank. Smells like money. Yeah, definitely. Does Carol work, or does she help? She helps me with the channel. She used to run a Starbucks, but she quit that to help me out. But yeah, plumbers make good money. Electricians make good money. Anybody doing anything, as long as you're doing good, you can make good money. The thing is the problem is what people do is a lot of people that do those types of jobs, they work hard. So they're sore, they're tired, they just want to drink a beer at the end of the night, things like that. So like, what winds up happening is it's a catch-22, and it just hurts you. So it makes it to where you're not as good the next day, and just ultimately it lowers your drive. But if you go to work every day, eating healthy, exercising healthy, like working, do your work, get home, get your rest, go back to work, and fucking grind every day like that, you're going to have your money at the end of the week. Invest some of it, use what you have to on whatever bills or whatever you have to pay, but have some sort of investment fund and continue doing that over time. But continue bringing it into the business, whatever you're doing, and you can make a lot of money, because your whole plan should be like a 5 to 10 year plan. The problem is we think, a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us think day to day, week to week, month to month, right? Which is horrible. Never think month to month. Think year to year, or 10 years to 10 years. If you can think of 5 years ahead, and that's what you're planning for, so you don't care about tomorrow. I don't care about tomorrow. I don't care about next month. I care about in 5 years. And if that's your plan, then your goals are going to be a lot bigger, and you're going to win a lot more, because your end goal is so much bigger. So you don't care about tomorrow's fun or the next day's thing. You care about the 5-year goal and putting in the work until that happens. So you're grinding every day for 5 years. And then at the end of the 5 years, that can happen. Thoughts on Knives of Alaska? Knives of Alaska, is that like a site? Or what is that? It's a site. I don't know. I've never dealt with them. Maybe they should contact me. I've never talked to them. I don't even know anything about them. First time I'm checking them out. Bunch of fixed blades. Looks pretty cool. Yeah. Jared Rabbit Hole comments about cops stopping on the side of the road to help you. We're shorthanded on police enforcement. They don't need to stop to help you. That's why we have AAA. No, that's not what I said. What I was talking about was if I wasn't really broke down. I don't want them to stop. I don't want them to stop and help me. That's the point. I do that because I know they're not gonna. If I have my hood down and my hazard lights aren't on, they're gonna pull over and fuck with me. They're gonna pull over, ask me questions, ask me what I'm doing, even though it's none of their fucking business. But once I tell them it's none of their fucking business, then they're gonna start harassing me more, start wanting to know my name and who I know, where I'm coming from and where I'm going, all their business that's not theirs, right? None of their business. But if I just lift my hood up and put my hazards on, that same fucking cop that would have stopped and fucked with me is just going to pass me by. That's what I meant. I don't want them to stop. I don't want them to stop and help me. Can't burn yourself out. Got to take those vacation days and do things outside. Absolutely. For sure. For sure. But like certain times of your life, no, you don't. You really don't. Like, I know there's times you need fun and adventure, but it just depends on what you want, right? And if you fuck off in your 20s, then you better do it in your 30s. If you fuck off in your if you want to fuck off in your 30s, then you better do it in your 20s. Right? So you have to pick and choose whatever it's going to be, right? And I know that because I did fuck off, right? So I know what it's like restarting at the age of fucking 30 and trying to get everything back together again. It's not easy. It's tough. But if I would have spent the exact time I'm spending now in my 20s, I wouldn't have had to, right? I'd be pretty easy right now. It'd be easy going, even though I'd be working just as hard. But vacations and things like that would be amazing. I could do that. I could plan that. So, yeah, I think having fun in vacations and having fun with friends and family is a must to do for sure. You should keep people close and be a good asset to people around you. But your number one thing should be your goal, whatever that is. And that should be the most important and above all else. Is it worth extra $30 for Damascus? No, it's not. It's basically 10. It's 9 CR10. Well, okay, wait a second. So for an extra $30, no, not for an extra 30. But I would say if it was only $10, then yeah, just because they're running K110 on that. K110 is not a stainless steel. Their Damascus is stainless. So if you wanted stainless steel with a little, with good edge retention, then go with that one. But I wouldn't say it's $30 more better. Yeah. That can be true sometimes. And do paperwork on Sundays. Life can be hard. The worst feeling is being stuck with only daytime TV. Cops don't need to stop on the roads to help you. That's why there's AAA. Our force is short-handed. I read that one. But yeah, I I don't want them to stop. But the thing is that they are supposed to protect and serve, right? Aren't they supposed to protect and serve the public, serve their people? So if I was broke down on the side of the road and I just desperately needed to call for help or needed to call AA or something, right? What if I'm 90 years old, right? There's so many factors you can go into it, but they wouldn't know it. But what I know, knowing with the cops that I deal with, yeah, they probably were. So you could argue the shorthanded thing to me, but when I see cops sitting there stopping and fucking with people for no reason, asking them dumb questions, how shorthanded are you? How shorthanded are you that you're literally trying to manipulate little kids and fucking with people? Like, I remember one time I got arrested literally pulling into my fucking place. Like, and then the guy lied about what I did. Literally lied right through his teeth so he could get me out of the car. And he did arrest me. He arrested me for a paraphernalia charge. I had a weed pipe on me, right? Something petty. But the point is, though, is his whole reason for pulling me over was fucking bullshit. And he got me out of the car. when I started arguing with him about it. He just tore me out of the car. And then my car got towed. I got arrested. All for what? For what? For I wasn't even speeding. And he said I was going 65 and a 30. I couldn't even gotten up to 65 where he caught me at. I had just turned the corner. Anyways, doesn't matter. The point is, though, is that if you're and I understand a lot of cops are shorthanded, but I'd say then why aren't you only focused on serious crime then? If that's the truth, and that's what I thought then, that's what I said to him. He actually put me in the back of the car. That was the time when I told you guys the cop put me in the back of the car and then beat me up in the back of the car by driving around all crazy, because when you're cuffed in the back of the car, the thing is like so close to you, so you can hit your face on it just from them hitting the brakes. And if they're spinning and turning and fucking swerving everywhere, you're gonna be all fucked up back there. Like, it's painful having cuffs on. It's torture. It really is. It's fucking torture. So when they have you in torture cuffs and you're being tossed around in the back because they're doing it on purpose to drive you around, I said to the guy, I said, man, I was like, too bad. And I don't know how. I probably said it very disrespectfully for sure because I was already in cuffs and being arrested. So I wasn't being a nice guy anymore. And I said something to the effect that oh, look at you, tough guy, you're arresting me when you could be out chasing down murderers and killers. I was like, oh, there's not enough dope dealers and killers out here in knowing that there is, because we're in a high crime area. That was my point. The point is that you could be out catching gangbangers and real crime, but instead you're fucking with me, somebody 18 who has his first apartment, a car, literally, fucking working really hard, like busting my ass to make it and grinding. And you're trying to fuck that up, like while there's gangbangers on the corner shooting up places, you're fucking with me. Like, and because at the time, like, I was being really good. Like, I literally had just got my first apartment. I had just turned 18, got my first apartment, car. I was literally on my way. Like, granted, it wasn't in a good neighborhood or nothing, but it was mine and it was nice. Well, nice to me. So like, I felt like I was like making it, I felt like I was doing really good, but something like that can ruin you. Luckily, the places I work and the people I'm surrounded by don't give a fuck. But if I worked at a different job, I could have lost my job off of that. I could have literally lost my job off of that. That's crazy. Like, to ruin somebody's life over a damn misdemeanor charge, or to try to. Brian Jones donated 5 memberships. Thank you, man. Shout out to Brian. Thank you so much, man. Also, he became a member too, so shout out to him. Thank you. Brian Jones. I can't pull it up here, otherwise I would, Brian. I can see it on my phone, though. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. My town, they have like 3 cop cars sitting in the back of the school by me and then park next to each other for hours. That's what they should do. See, that's what I think they should be doing. That's actually what I think they should be doing right there. If they're not out, like, and I'm talking about in a place where it's not high crime, right? If it's a high crime area, obviously they need to be out doing shit. But in a not so high crime area, they should be like helping old ladies carry their groceries to their car. That's the shit they should be doing, helping and serving the people. But if not, go sit somewhere and wait for a call. Like, you shouldn't be out looking for crime. You should be waiting for crime to happen, because they don't stop crime. Let's be clear. They don't stop crime. They come and investigate crime. That's what they do, right? Like, if somebody's robbing a place or something, right? They're going to, if they show up, they're going to try to stop it. But most likely they're going to show up after it's done, because that's when the call's going to come in. So it's more of an investigation, and then and that's how they, protect and serve. Now they're going to go and investigate, find the people that did it, look at the cameras, whatever, and go arrest the people, and the people can be brought to justice. All right. That's the way it should be. If they show up on time, then they can bust them right there. But to just drive around and harass people into giving you information and, trying to turn everybody into a criminal, everybody you pull over for a bad tail light or, something like that, running a stoplight or something, is stupid to me. I seen this cop yesterday. This lady was just waiting outside of Starbucks for it to open. That's it. And he pulls up and he starts fucking blaming her for sitting there. Like, why are you sitting here? She's like, I'm waiting for it to open. I'm going to work. Like, it opens in 10 minutes. And he was like, well, we've had crime in this area. Like, we have break-ins in this area. And she's clearly not fucking breaking into anything. She's clearly sitting there. You can see it clear as day what she's doing. And then he rips her out of the car. It winds up being an $8 million lawsuit. Thank God. Right? But who pays that? I heard, I don't know how true this is. I heard because in the thing it said that he wound up getting promoted after getting this $8 million lawsuit. Because he don't have to pay it. It's not like it comes out of their pension or their retirement or anything. It comes from the people. We pay it. So why would they care about lawsuits? I mean, obviously it could probably affect them to some extent if they lose their job. But it's not like that $8 million is going to come out of their ass. But yeah, it was crazy though. Like I thought, like this, it's just so disgusting for me to watch. That's what I mean. Yeah, there's more harassing and extortion than protecting and serving. Right. Yeah. And I'm sure. Listen, I know there's a ton of good cops. I think the guy who made that comment's a cop. And listen, I understand it. It's a tough job. It's a hard job, and my heart goes out to you guys. And you guys see a lot. You guys go through a lot. I can only imagine the PTSD you guys go through. Like, I get it, but that's what you guys signed up for, right? Like, so you don't have to be a cop, but if you are going to be a cop, then you should hold true to what you signed up for, which is to protect the American people's constitutional rights. You're supposed to serve and protect their constitutional rights. That's what you're supposed to be doing, right? That's the oath you took. So, I just say do that. My pop let his shop be a police choir practice location, a place they drink, smoke, brag while getting a check. They are only to protect and serve the rich. They don't care about us. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that because, you can call the cops just as much as I can, right? Like, but I get what you're saying. But that the only reason why it just seems that way is just because the rich can get good lawyers. That's it. They can get good lawyers and they can, they can spend the money to go to court and fight the case. That's the only difference. But they're not serving them because they, unless if they're like hired to serve them. But I'm saying like the actual public police, they're not serving them. They serve the people, but they're just not serving them to the best of their ability. But I kind of see what you're saying, but everybody can call the cops. Everybody can get a cop to come and whatever. But holy, is that another one? No, it's not. All right, I'm about to get out of here, guys. If I can only pick one for life, gunny juice or stroppy stuff, right now it'd be gunny juice because that's what I can link. No, to be honest, if it was like only one company or one stropping compound, because if it was one company, I'd probably pick stroppy stuff right now just because it's color coordination. But if you're talking about just one stropping compound, I'd pick 6 micron gunny juice or like 9 micron gunny juice. Like if I could only have one. I'm not sure which way you meant it. So because I wouldn't need it to be color coordinated if I only had one. That's my point, Most of the police don't. That's what I think is crazy. It's like you signed an oath to protect the thing you can't even recite. I was saying that earlier. I said all police officers should be able to recite the Constitution the same way I can recite the Lord's Prayer. You know what I mean? Like that's how they should be able to do it. It should be that important that they know it because that's what they swore an oath to. But I don't think I've ever seen a cop that could do it. I've met cops that can tell you like, a bunch of them because they'll tell you a bunch of them because those are the ones that they deal with the most, and the most you hear, like everybody hears Second Amendment, everybody hears it. So people know it because they hear it. But do you know the fifth, agreed, Jared, they should have to know it. They should. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of them doing a really good job. Like I said, I talk about Matt Thornton, you know, the detective in my area, man. He does a really good job, man. I see him all the time, and he's always trying to and what he's trying to do is exactly what I'm saying that they should do. That's what I love about him, is he's actually trying to unite the people with the police and make it to where, you know, he's protecting his own community. So he actually cares about the people in the community. You know, when you grow up with the people, you know, like, you know, the guy at the gas station, you know, the mailman, you know, whose kid that is down the street, you tend to deal with them differently, you know, than if you've never seen them a day in your life, right? You've you know, you might not have ever even been on this block before, you know. Yeah. Yeah, and with power, you know, we all know what happens with that. But that goes with everything, right? You know, like, it's got to happen and it won't change overnight either. Y'all have a good night. Yeah, I'm about to get out of here too. Guys, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I stayed late because I did miss what was it, the last live. So I wanted to make sure I made up for it on this one. I do love you guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and showing love and support. Um, thank you guys for using the links and hitting the like button and leaving me comments. I do greatly appreciate it. And thank you to all the new members tonight, and shout out to all the donators that donated new members, because we got over 100 new members now. So shout out to all the new members, and to the people that donated, the new members. I love you guys. I appreciate all the support. Work hard, stay tough. You know, society's relying on you. Until next time, peace. Did it not?